Oh my. Not sure who just logged in here. I'm waiting for Russ to get here. We're going to get started on a design. He had an idea and he wants to collaborate and put together a a multi-layer piece like this, but it'll be for a Memorial Day. Let me know who's here. I see there's one person watching. Just post a comment there. Say, hey, let's see. He should be here any second. Interesting work with an interesting outcome. Question: what kind of individual? Hey, good. Glad you got them. All right. So I got an interesting comment on YouTube. Ain't real sure how to respond to. Already live. Okay. So they posted to the video of the renovated birdhouse from the Cedar Plaque, and they comment the comments just interesting work with an interesting outcome. Question: what kind of individuals are drawn to this hobby? I am a freestyle woodworker, so this type of woodworking is perhaps not for me. Yeah, if you're a freestyle woodworker, then I guess having it precision controlled by a computer is probably not, up your alley or something that might be appealing to you. Not sure what to tell them. But waiting for Russ to get here. I got two more that's jumped on here, and I'm glad you're here. As I was telling them earlier, Russ contacted me yesterday with an idea for a Memorial Day piece. It'll be a multi-layer design, and he's wanting to work together. And he is extremely proficient with Lightburn. He does not need my help in any way. It's just that when you collaborate with other individuals and you get that feedback from other folks, sometimes you've got an idea, but just a little tweak from them can make your idea even better. So collaborations can be beneficial sometimes. And then sometimes there's not. When you got somebody who wants to drive a bulldozer and just run all over you. Hey there, Chicago Bob. Oh, in fact, I think Russ is up there near you somewhere, Chicago Bob. But he and I were live a second ago. I sent him the link. I thought he was going to jump right back on, because I told him it wouldn't take more than 3 to 5 minutes. Let's see make sure I sent it. I know I put it in an email. Russ. Oh, yep, there he is. All right, at stage. There he is. So Russ, we got 4 people here in the stream. I see, and am I right? Highway 170. Is that Don? I can't remember if it was Don. And Chicago Bob's here. And where are you at, Russ?
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. All right. Larry's here. I'm here, but waiting on my wife to go out for lunch. Not sure how long I'm going to stay. Well, we're going to be here for a little bit, because we don't have a we're starting from scratch pretty much here. We got a concept, Russ does, and we're going, like I said, we'll collaborate together and welcome your feedback. Okay, no, you're Dave. Okay, all right. So, tell them what your idea is, what you want to do.
So what I was thinking, like I said, I saw your thing there on mountains, and it got me thinking about the God Bless America, from the mountains to the prairies, and Memorial Day coming. So I wanted to do a multi-layer Memorial Day design. And what I was thinking was having a white background with the American flag as the second layer, where you would just have the red stripes and the blue, and the white would be in the back would become the white stripes and the stars. And then the next layer would be the mountains, like the mountains that you did on your crosshair with the Sasquatch. And then I like the Iwo Jima Memorial. So then the last layer would then be the Iwo Jima Memorial with the Marines raising the flag.
Okay, so so I'm hearing background red and blue, or yeah, red and blue,
Mhm.
and Iwo Jima. That's 3 layers.
Including the background would be four.
Yeah,
So you got the
okay,
white
yeah, yeah,
background, and you got
4 layers.
the
Okay,
red stars and blue mountains, and then Iwo Jima.
okay, and uh, just to address Larry. Larry Mitchell asked if this will be archived. It won't be archived in Patreon, other than the post that I put up there today. It will remain there, and that post will still have the link that will take you to the YouTube channel you're watching now, and it will. And yes, as long as you have that link, you can click on this and see it in YouTube. But you have to have the link that you've already clicked on to see this video. If you go to the YouTube channel, you will not see this anywhere. So anybody just jumping on YouTube cannot see this video. This is just us right now. It's the 6 of you watching and me and Russ. So, and there might be a few more pop on and jump off, but as long as that link is out there in Patreon, and I won't be removing that post, you can come back and watch this if you have to jump off. Uh, and again, and do this like well, actually, you know what, since it's just the 6 of us, or 8 of us, uh, I'm going to try and keep up with the comments, and we do welcome input and collaboration, because sometimes, like I said, the our idea might be pretty good, but then with a little push or shove from one of you guys, it might become incredibly awesome. So I'm gonna get my light burn open. And actually, you know what, Russ, if you want to, you can actually share your light burn screen too. If you, I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, I'm cutting a piece of acrylic.
oh, okay. Well, you can open two instances, but uh, but then that can get a little bit confusing if we're both trying to design and end up. So, all right, let's see here. Go away. Light burn. File new. Discard. All right, and present, share. Okay, and you had, let's see, file. I want to open from downloads. All right, so this is what you sent. Open. All right, so
Yeah.
this piece here is from my crosshairs,
Yep.
right? Okay, and
And
were you only wanting the mountains, or were you wanting to keep the
no,
trees?
I wanted to keep the trees and the mountains. And like I said, probably either going to have to use the scissors or node editing to get rid of the round uh,
Yeah.
bottom, because that is going to end up being a straight line.
Yep.
You
All
know,
right.
so
And what I do, and like, because this right now is grouped, we got two images there. We got the inner piece and the outer piece, and I've got a corner point right there, and it should be the same as there. So I would actually just grab my rectangle tool and come right there to that corner and draw me out a rectangle, and actually a square, holding shift and come right over there to there, and move that down to the bottom, and then use that as a cut tool.
Yeah, that's going to have to be resized to figure out, where it's not blocking
The
the
flags,
flag.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we should be able to get the basic shape. Control B, not that one, that one. And that gives you a flat line across the bottom. They're not attached, but you could always add a bar or a line across there and do it. But that quick got rid of all of the bottom. Might would clean that up, but we'll worry about that later. But so you want to use something like that, and then all right. So the flag, you mentioned you wanted to do a white background.
Yeah, that's what that square is.
Yep.
I think right now I have that sized as an 8 by 10.
8 by 11.5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking initially of maybe doing it as a shadow box, but like we were discussing earlier, either having all the layers, like one glued to two, glued to three, like what you did on your hobo lettering sign, or maybe having some space in between each layer, and then setting it up like what you did with the Sasquatch and the crosshairs.
Right. And yeah, and the the only issue with, and you don't really create a lot of waste, but to do the spacing between it, I in fact, if I learned with doing the shadow boxes, if you wanted to put a space between each layer, you don't have to have like say here, a lot of folks will create an offset of whatever the perimeter they wanted to be, and they would cut that out and then put that in between each layer so it
Yep.
spaces it out. You don't need all that, and it creates a whole lot of waste, because when you cut that out, this inner piece right here, it's not waste, but you're now restricted to what you can use that material for. It's a set size. All you need is, if this is 8 inches tall, then all you need is a piece that's going to be 8 inches tall and a 1/4 inch wide, if that's how wide you are going to do in your outer border, and then glue one right there, and then glue another one over here, and that spaces everything out, and you've got hardly any material involved in it. You don't need that extra piece up there going across the top.
Yeah. The other way that I've done it is I just cut out small squares and then glued it to, like, the backs of the trees
Yeah,
to,
uh-huh.
to actually allow those to stand out from whatever's behind it.
And far as that goes, you don't even need that full 8 inch piece unless you just wanted it for support. You could do a 1/4 inch square in the corner here and a 1/4 inch square in the corner here, and just bump them out. And then, like you say, and have a little piece on the back of each. Yeah, that would work, and have even less waste, less material.
Right. Yep. And then what you just did there with the offset,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying about the flag of, doing something like that so that you could weld the stripes of the flag, so that you don't have those floating pieces on the flag.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm creating layered designs like this, like you said, you wanted this to be white. Well, it is white right now. It's on a layer that's in line mode, and we can see the white background. Well, this one is going to be another layer, and if I lock my aspect ratio and I tell it to go to 11.5 wide, so I fill up that whole area and see what and it actually could be even bigger. In fact, we'll just draw it out to where I get maybe and then put it in the center. And a lot of, and this is just me, like that, this little part of the tree over here, I'm happy if I don't even see it. If I had something like that to where I've got partial tree and partial tree, and if you want to see all the peak, you could lower it down. And but then to get an idea of what it's going to look like, I'll put that on an entirely different layer and put it in fill mode. So now I can see, all right, there's my white background, but now this piece in here, that's not going to be white. That's going to be, and actually when I did my mountains and the little hobo sign, that layer there with the peaks, the snow-capped mountains, that's an entirely separate layer. So I could paint it white and put the snow caps on top of the mountains and had another layer behind it. So the mountains were actually made up 2 layers.
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing where I was going to paint the trees green. I was going to do the snow caps white. And then, like I said, you got to take into consideration, too, that you're going to have the flag behind that. So you don't want the mountains and the trees too big where it's going to be covering up the flag
Okay.
in the back.
All right. So
Right, exactly. Yeah, something like that size there.
So
because the middle of the mountain doesn't matter because that's going to be cut out and that's going to be clear. So you're going to be able to see, the flag behind the mountains. It's just the top of the mountains and the trees that's going to, block stuff.
All right. So you do want to see through the mountains.
Yes.
Okay.
The snow caps, it doesn't matter. Those are going to be painted white. The trees are going to be painted green. It's just you want to be able to see. I mean that looks perfect. You can see the blue and the stars and
I've already told folks that you don't really need any help doing this. It's just having the added collaboration sometimes helps things because you are more than proficient in light burn. But for those who don't know what's going on here where I put these on separate layers and we're going to have our blue on top of the flag. Well, to make that representation look that way, I need to change my priority over here on my layers. So to get the blue up on top of the flag, I just need to bring it down in the cuts and layers like that. So now I can start to see as I'm building this, do I want to see all of the union? Well, if I do, then I know I need to make that even smaller. And if I make it like that, but it's not wide enough, well, I can always stretch it out. But now it starts to look like bushes instead of trees.
Yeah.
When
I design, I'll pretty much do the same thing where I'll temporarily group things together so that I can, see what it looks like with the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and then when I need to do the editing, I'll ungroup everything and separate everything and then, start working on it in the light burn again.
All right. So you want to have something like that. And then you're going to have the Iwo Jima.
Yeah, which normally when I do things like that, like I was saying, I will duplicate it because you're going to have to cut out the background and then do an engrave on that background of the Marines, raising the flag.
Yeah.
And then, again, that's going to need to be resized so that it basically sits kind of in the middle of the mountain and doesn't obstruct too much. I mean, it could be over into the trees and everything, but you want to basically be able to see all the layers. Yeah, that would be, I mean, maybe a little smaller, but I don't know. I like the way the flag is above the mountain.
Yeah. And then you would do, all right, so that's the size we like. And you said we're going to duplicate it. And then we're going to get just the outer perimeter for the silhouette. Is that what you? Yep. Okay.
So it cuts it out.
Yep. And then
this is where you could get into some serious node editing.
All right. So there would be the silhouette to cut out to go behind that.
Yep. And so you'd basically want that as a cut, and then you'd want the other one as an engrave to engrave onto. Yep.
And I'm going to leave that in fill mode, and it's all grouped. So this will be cut out, and actually this would actually have a cutout around the perimeter of it with the engraving on top of it, or would you do that in line mode so you can paint it? How are you going to do the? Are you just going to engrave that image on a piece?
Yeah, I was thinking of just engraving it on the piece, not actually painting it.
Okay, so this would be duplicated and cut out around that. Oh, no one do that. I want to bullseye it. There we go. I did it in the wrong order. Come on. So that bullseye on top of that. So now you got that cut out and engraved. And so this will be a separate piece that needs to be cut out. And what are
usually when I do it, I do it as one piece. So,
okay?
And then I set the 2 layers where I'll have it do the engrave first, and then I'll have it do the cut
Okay.
second.
Okay. I thought this was going to be. I thought you were going to cut some of that out, and then you'd have this colored. You know what? And this is part of the collaboration part. That actually might. It's going to get thick. We're going to have a lot of layers here, but you want to talk about something I think that would look really cool is if you were to, instead of engraving this gold layer, if that was all cut out as well, if it could be done, well, you know what? It ain't going to stay there. Pieces are going to fall out. Well, yeah, pieces would fall
Yeah.
out.
And then the other thing, like what we were saying, I mean, it might be good to do the 2 separate layers because you may have issues with the flagpole being thin, where it might break. It could just burn and char.
Well, and if that was the size we were going to do it at, that flagpole is currently, let's put it metric. Yeah, it's less than 2 millimeters across. That's really delicate. Really delicate. And I don't know if and see what is that right there is where is don't give me an angle. I don't know why it doesn't give me an angle, but that's okay. If I was mentioning to you, I don't like to have anything any thinner than my material. Hey, Chris is here. Hey, Chris. Hello to everybody I hadn't said hello to. If I was doing this out of 3 millimeter material, I'd want that flagpole right there to be at least 3 millimeters. So drawing that to 3 millimeters there, and we'll make it long enough to where it extends the whole flagpole. I could cheat that a little bit and make that, and because that's not going to be terribly noticeably different between the what's there now versus the 3 mil.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That you could always beef up that flagpole so you don't have any problems with it breaking.
And if I want to do that right there, instead of trying to weld all that together, because I'm lazy, I'll grab that one and go into node editing and just stretch the nodes to that point, or get rid of the nodes that aren't in there. And insert a node here, put it on the corner. Wrong button. I do that all the time. I hit the delete instead of the letter D. Yeah, and in node editing, you have to hit the letter D for delete. And turn that into a line by hitting L. And I'm gonna leave that little bulge on there just so it looks little bit more organic and not just a straight. But actually, you know, and do you know what they used to raise the flag? Do you know what this was in real life? Because they didn't have a
No.
flag. They didn't have a flagpole. Do you know the story on it? It's drill pipe.
Huh.
If I recall correctly, when they landed, there was a stack of drill pipe there, and they picked up one of the drill pipes and used that to erect the flag. So that would actually be a very, very straight piece of metal. So if I want to go ahead and get rid of that, why wouldn't welding that three? Sometimes welding's the way I go. Sometimes I don't. So that's perfect. And I didn't have to go worry about getting irregular shapes because I didn't have that exactly the same or the right measurements, Andy. It was a little bit tall, a little bit long, but by just using that tool path, I was able to use that as a guide to manipulate the existing image. There's not a wrong way or a right way. There's always another way. So there's that. But then that up there with the gold would have to be and mirrored to look exactly the same. Actually, it wouldn't matter because that's just going to be an engraving. And if it was a little off there, it'd just be different highlights showing the roundness of the round bar. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, what are you? How are you planning on having this finished piece? Are you going to do in a box? Is this going to be one of your lighted boxes? How you want to do it? Oh, your mic's gone. You muted yourself.
I was thinking about that of doing it. You know, if I did separate layers, I could do it as a lighted box. But then I was also thinking of just maybe doing a frame around it and have it sort of like what I did with those nursery rhyme plaques that I did.
Okay. All right. Now on your flag, the green layer here, that's going to be the flag. That's going to be one layer, and you're going to hand paint the union and the stars or the bars rather. And I didn't realize I lost him.
Originally, I was thinking about doing it something like this one.
And I'm gonna make you full screen here.
So you see how you got depth, and this is what I was saying, where I'll take little pieces and I'll glue it behind, you know, to
standing
kind of
ball. And
yeah.
I like that. And those now that silhouette of the father and son, they were even more proud than the birds, weren't they? The birds were the birds were glued. Yeah.
I mean, basically, this is an image that is engraved on 3mm Baltic birch, and then the birds are glued directly onto that, as well as the wolf down here is glued directly onto that. And then the setting sun, I basically put 2 pieces of wood behind it, and then the cowboy and his son, I put 3 so that they would stand out from the sun and you know, the rest of the.
Okay, cool, very cool. All right, let's see. I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so the flag will be one layer.
Yeah, and the flag, like we were talking about earlier, is going to need some work done to that because the initial background is going to be white, and then the blue and then the red stripes of the flag is going to sit on top of those. So if you go back to the uh, light burn there that I had of the flag, you're going to see that those three bottom stripes are floating.
Right.
And so I wanted to basically come up with something to weld them together.
All right. So, and then what you would need to think about too, and this is why I was asking about how you're going to display this. If you're going to put it in a box like you just showed there, then you'll be able to see the all of this. But if you were to have any kind of frame or overlapping piece that extended over into the interior, then you need to shrink the flag so that you could see it inside whatever you're displaying it in.
Yeah,
Uh,
the other thing also too is that if you purchase the shadow boxes, you're
yeah.
gonna find them in shapes like 8x8 and 12x12, maybe. I've seen them, like 11x14, and you got to kind of take into consideration that the flag isn't a perfect square. It's usually like a rectangle.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mhm.
I don't know if I did want to put it in a box, like that shadow box, if I would actually be able to find an off the shelf, box to put it in, and I would probably end up having to make something.
Do like I did my little pieces here. These are. Let me pull mine up full screen here. Uh, these are little Jeep shadow boxes I've got going on multi-layer, and I hide it all. I hide all the layers with just scrap pieces of wood, and so I've built my own little box around it, and that way you don't have to worry about finding something that fits. You just make your own finish, and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
yeah,
Just cut strips and then put them together.
yeah. And then if you wanted to on a piece like this, and this is why I was asking if you wanted to have any kind of overlap, if you wanted it to look like a frame, you could have something around the outer perimeter as a frame, kind of like I did the the planters are over yonder. The planters are where you had to hide the edges on the front face.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Of to be able to do the option of either having the layers separated, or just glue one layer on top of the next layer on top of the next layer.
And I don't know if you've seen it, but Chris said he really liked the standoff 3D effect, having that extra pieces on there. That did look really good. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, now how about because I'm a little bit nuts uh, about the symmetry sometimes. Sometimes I really want to see that symmetry, and then sometimes I'm like, yeah, not so much. And here with that mountain scene and the trees, that that symmetry of having both trees equal the same, I don't know that I necessarily want that in this one. Uh, Come on. Oh, gotta get the selector tool. I do that all the time. Forget to get the selector tool.
Yeah,
And
I was thinking about that too. Of you know, do you need to have the Iwo Jima directly in the middle, or could it be put to the left? Could it be put to the right? But the way that it's actually set up, where they're on that the rocks and stuff, you kind of got to look at where the bottom is gonna be as to where it would be positioned. Because I mean, I like the flag that way over the mountain.
right.
Um, but you could also have the bottom piece of the rocks where you could have it more over to the right, if you wanted. I think it looks good that way though.
Um, Bob's World says he agrees about the two trees. What about, and it's not that I don't mind the two trees, but what I might would do or suggest is if we're not if you want to see that entire tree right there, if I extended that snow cap on out over here behind that tree where it went out the perimeter of the piece, and then separate this tree and then just reduce it by 60 or 70%. Have that mountain line come on down and just have a smaller tree over here, and then you would want and that, like you're talking about, they're standing on rocks. If that was extended across there, and put the trees in the background behind that layer as well. Because I'm like you, I like having them in the center and I like where that flag position's at.
Yeah.
But by breaking up that symmetry, because right now when I look at, and this is just me, and well, me and Bob's world, uh, when I see that right now, what jumps out at me is those two identical trees. You know, uh, and just for giggles, and guys, whenever I'm doing edits on designs, I strongly suggest you don't do it with your original. Create you a duplicate and that way you've got yours there. So if you say, you know what, oh, I don't like that, you could just delete this. But if I were to simply go into line mode, ungroup that, and I'm going to just draw a straight line across for right now from there to there. And I don't want to cut, I want to break. I'll do nodes. I'm going to break it right. I'll insert a node here and break it. I break. It didn't break. Break. There we go. And break. Insert and break. Then I could take and actually just connect those two. Grab that tree. There's an artifact there that don't need to be there. Go back into node editing and fix that little piece and make it curvature, give it some character. Then I've got that little tree that I could just shrink down in size. That's not closed. Got to put that on the same layer. Now I use my scissors and cut that and that. I'll need to extend that on out, but put those guys back in the middle. Bottom. That's not on the bottom. Well, why is it not letting me do that? There we go. Insert and insert and tell that to be a line. There we go. And then if you want to still make that all one layer, weld that back together.
Yeah, I think that size works good.
Build that, and I think that looks a whole lot better. And then I said, we need to extend the mountains over here, coming out that side like I did over there. So to do
The
that,
other thing that you could also do is you could move that tree over so that when it's on the edge there, it's kind of split in half.
the big one.
Yeah. So
All right.
so that you're not seeing everything on the edge over there. You're basically you don't have that open space to the left of the tree.
Gotcha. And then you don't have to extend the mountain out because you're going to be tree to the edge, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So if I ungroup that, so I hit ungroup, but everything's still selected, and I can go into node editing, and I still see all the nodes, everything's still selected, and I'm going to select all the nodes in that tree up just to there, where I'm just inside the mountain there. In fact, I'll come up here and grab that part. Then I'm going to hold. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna grab all of it, ungroup that again because I hit, and then same area, just inside that top bow, and then hold shift and come down here and grab the rest of them. And I think I'm getting all of them. If I miss a few, it's not a big deal. I can go back and grab the ones I didn't get. But now I've got just those nodes selected. I can use my control arrow button to move that tree over to where he's talking about like that or more.
I was thinking where it would be like halfway to the peak of the top, so that the
Okay.
tree is kind of split in half. Yeah, like that.
All right. And now my mountain peak or the mountain line is distorted because it wouldn't. So I either need to have more peaks or I need to change that. And if I have that come straight down, now my mountains won't be centered. So I'll probably just add another peak right here, just to help fix that. So I got that done. I'm going to come in here and use the letter M and insert a node in the middle. I'm going to change this to a line by hitting L and L. And now if I select that node and just bring it straight up and come down here, hit L or insert and make it a line and a line and bring that one straight up. And then I need to come over here, insert one and bring it straight down. And I can add some curves here and there because it wouldn't be a point. That would be more of a curve. Make it a corner. In fact, I could Now, what do you think about the mountain extending back there? Do you like seeing the full tree there?
Yeah, I think that one looks fine. I guess it kind of depends. If you actually moved it over a little more to the right, then you don't have to worry about that little piece of mountain that's sticking out there. But like you said about symmetry and everything, then
Yeah,
it, it's
yeah,
offset. It kind of looks better that way.
yeah. I'm not hating that. Okay. Let's see here. Uh, oh no, I'm just looking at the comments here. Uh, for those that don't know, Moses Forever Laser Art. Moses is a groomer, a pet groomer, and he says, "Have fun, everyone. I got to get back to work. I got to get this cat groomed done. Hopefully, I keep all my fingers." I cannot imagine trying to groom a cat. Holy smokes! Yeah. All right.
I'm sure the cat's probably not too happy about it either.
Oh, I'm sure it's not. All right. So if you like that setting and that profile of the that blue layer, then I'm going to go back to my wireframe mode. I'm going to grab the black layer. I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to use that to get my size and shape of that blue layer so I can control B. Pretty sure that's the one I want it to be, and then put it on back on the blue layer and feel. Yeah. Now, all right. I like where the Iwo Jima flag is positioned, like you said, above the peaks there. But all of their feet and all where they're standing on the rocks
Yeah, it's
are are,
below.
are cut away, and I kind of would like to see some of that. So to do both, you're going to need to shrink that down and lift it up. In fact, you could uh, this whole rocky ground area, we could extend that on out, and even if it came over to the corner or whatever, because it's got to be attached to something down at the bottom. But that I'm not hating too bad. We got a good position of the flag. We can see most or all their feet in the rocky ground. Chris says he's a bit undecided of a flag on a flag. Well, Chris, I don't. You got here late to the party, and the concept that Russ has here is there's one back layer that'll be solid white. It'll just be the entire perimeter, one rectangular piece painted white. Then the green layer is a layer that will be cut out, and then he's going to paint the Union blue and then paint the stripes red so that that layer will stand out and have the white background showing and the white stars showing, and that'll be the next layer. Then on top of that will be the blue layer, which will be just well, you going to engrave it or do you want to cut it out and paint it?
The mountains
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
trees.
trees is going to be painted. Yeah, so the trees will be
Right.
green. The snow cap will be white. Now the thing about the Iwo Jima is that's going to be cut out, and then all the stuff on the flag on the soldiers that's going to be engraved. So you're not going to have the blue, the red, and the white of the stripes of the flag blending in with the blue of the
Yeah.
flag in the background or the white.
Yeah. And this will be, in fact, just for giggles, we'll put that on a fill and move it back. So it's going to be like that. That'll be a solid piece that you won't see. That behind the flag will be all solid natural wood, and then the gold will be the engraving, and it's going to be on top of that. So it's not going to be fighting each other. The flags, the colors of the flags
Yep.
won't be conflicting or fighting each other. That's an engraved layer on top of the painted layer. So it won't be as messy and as confusing as what it would be if it was all red, white, and blue. So I think it'll work. Um, and Andy says he really wants to see this finished project. So, uh, and guys, this is going to be, as you see, just kind of an collaboration. I'm driving right now only because it's easier to have one person driving. He's giving instructions, I'm giving ideas, and when I'm done with this, I'll send it to him, and he's going to take it, and he may even do some more tweaking and playing with it. And then once he gets it where he absolutely wants it, he'll share me a finished piece. Then yeah, and I don't know if this is something he'll get done before 3 o'clock tomorrow. But if I go live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and if he has a finished piece, I'll show it in that live stream. But this is uh, definitely just an and this is the kind of thing that I do with patrons all week long, and even non-patrons, to where people say I'm working with an idea, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. I'll sit here and connect with folks in this studio, and we'll spitball and create pieces, and then I'll send them the design. Sometimes I will, say, okay, well, this turned out really, really nice, and I want to take this and put it on the website. And some of the pieces, that are collaboration pieces, will end up being put on Hobo with Wood that you could go and purchase and download. Because not all of my designs on Hobo with Wood are videos. Uh, so anyway,
Well, that's what I was saying too, where, sometimes you'll do something in your videos and it'll give me an idea of either, how I want to modify it, or, like this here, you were talking about mountains, made me start thinking about, mountains and mountains majesty, and, with Ways of Grain, Memorial Day. And that's where this whole, concept
it
came
just
from.
springboards.
Yeah. And the thing too is that, I mean, I don't do this to sell stuff. I'm just doing it, for myself. And
But you do sell some goods.
Yeah, that's true.
You do
Yeah.
sell some goods, and for y'all that he shared with me, and I hope you don't mind, but because
Yeah.
I mentioned the other day the what was
Yeah,
it?
that was
The
crazy.
heart?
Yeah.
That 3D where I showed how to make the lace and all that stuff. And how many of those did you end up making and selling?
I
And
did I did 15 in one day. Ended up making like about $500 in 2 days.
Highway 70, and that's Don, I think you said. Did I say that? I can't remember what. And I apologize if I not called you right. Uh, he, if this may be a piece that we end up having, uh, the piece that I end up with may be on Hobo with Wood. And like I said, because the piece that he ends up cutting out, I imagine he may take and tweak and make some additional changes. But it'd be very close to this concept.
So I mean, that's what.
And guys, this now, what is that made from?
Well, Baltic birch, wood, just spray paint white. Actually, hand painted the little pink heart, and then glitter acrylic.
Glitter acrylic. All right, and this blowed my mind when he showed me something today before we got on this. Uh, I would have. In fact, I still call him a liar. Grab that translucent.
Look. No tape.
No
Translucent.
tape, no masking, and that's translucent acrylic. Now, is that light or edge lit?
No, that's the acrylic. It's actually like a yellowish green acrylic.
Yeah, but see how the edge glows?
Exactly. Yeah, because it's
I,
picking up the light. Yeah,
yeah,
from the
I think.
laser.
Yeah, I think they call that. Well, there is. I think maybe it's a brand. It's Edge Lit, and
I'm not really sure.
yeah. Well, I've got some here. It's called Edge Lit, and it absorbs the ambient light and it glows like neon.
And then this is the one you were talking about earlier, where I cut that on the Rolly.
All right, now is that the same stuff?
Yep.
All
Yep.
right, so no, that's not Edge Lit.
And then it's gonna eventually be. I mean, I need to hand paint this and stuff, but it's gonna eventually be on this.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I would call you. I still call you a liar. That the diode can't cut through translucent acrylic. I think he's got a magic. He's got a magic room that does stuff that the diode laser don't do.
Okay.
Chris
I
says.
swear to God, I got the same Rolly you got.
Chris says that's like me. I sell stuff to make room for more. All right, so let's get back over here. All right, so we got to fix. We got to make a border to make all these layers attachable, fixable. Well, let's finish the other this front piece first, and then plus two. Another thing, Chris, you said you don't like the flag. He wasn't crazy about the flag on flag. Keep in mind these are multiple layers, and this flag that's going to be blue and red sitting on top of the white layer is going to have the mountain layer between it.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be some space between this flag and the blue and red. It's not going to be sitting right on top of it. So there'll be a little 3D dimension, raised effect there. So that also will help with the separation of the two. Not to mention, again, it's only an engraving and not colors. Um, and if he did the additional spacing between the layers, that would even, and you wouldn't have to do it on all the layers. If you only did additional spacing on the Iwo Jima to get them even further off of the surface to create more separation, that would work.
So
And
now
Sherry,
here's the thing also too that I'm just thinking about. So what we were talking about earlier of on the flag, how you got those bottom three lines that are floating.
yeah,
So
here,
yeah, and so I was thinking about doing, like a frame around the flag where I could weld, the lines and everything on the to the border there.
right.
But then you got to think also too that how is that going to look now that you're going to have a border going around that flag?
You're not gonna see it uh, if you do your boxing all right. And that's why I was thinking about doing the outer frame on the finished piece. Uh, if and and I've got an idea on how to make that look really good. It'll be completely hidden. Uh, but let's finish because we need to get all the layers finished because we got to do that outer piece to all of them exactly the same. So let's get the layers finished first. We're good with the back, the white, the flag, and the blue. Now let's get the Iwo Jima, and then I'll show you how I would do this for the outer perimeter, so you own everything looks like it's supposed to. Um, and you're good with the position there, the flag,
Yeah,
and where
yeah, I
those
think
guys
that
are
looks
at.
good. Yep. I mean,
All right,
I like the way that tree is split on the side. I like the smaller, tree on the right. So yeah, I think it looks good.
all right. So I'm gonna put that in line so it's not as. Well, actually, you know what? I just do it all in line. Fill, put that, and come up here to window. And Sharon said, Russ, that's amazing. Will you share your base setting for us to try? Also, a video would be great. And
Well, here's the thing. I think you said it about settings is everybody's settings is going to be different. The only thing that I can say is test, test, test.
yeah, and having settings, suggested settings as a springboard is not a bad thing, but you do need to find your own settings. But now this would be different though, I think. But the where I think you definitely have to find your own settings when you're dealing with wood. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But since the acrylic is not a natural living thing, if you were using the exact same product, acrylic, there's a pretty good chance that your settings would work for somebody else's settings, even if they were in Denver at a mile high and you were, below, at sea level, because
You know,
you're working with synthetics and not naturals.
the thing also too is I never thought about what you said of, are you peeling the tape off and stuff like that. I just pulled the paper off and everything, threw it on the laser and cut it, until you actually asked me about that of, are you using any masking? Are you pulling any paper, the paper off and stuff like that? I never thought about it. I just pulled the paper off, I threw it on the laser and I cut it.
Yeah, I think I've almost always cut mine with the paper on. Almost always, I think. It's been so
Yeah,
long.
I mean, I just kind of thought about the whole thing of, is that glue going to melt on the acrylic, and then having to peel it off and everything afterwards. So yeah, I just peeled it off. I peeled the paper off, and I mean, I got it sitting on magnets to lift it off of the honeycomb, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, so you cut it elevated so it's not sitting on the surface of the.
Yeah.
Okay. And just for giggles, and depending on the color you're cutting and if it's translucent or opaque, you're you mentioned earlier to me the range. Your speed might be from here to here, and your power might be from here to here. Just throw
Yeah.
that out. Just throw that range out there so that they
Uh,
got an idea of what you.
power, I generally set it anywhere between 60 to 100. The range can be anywhere from 3,000 to 1,000. And, like I was telling you, uh, you're not going to be able to do clear acrylic without having to do something to it, like, what people say, put the masking tape on it, or, paint it black, and, with the tempera paints and whatnot. Which I don't even deal with that. It's just a pain. That's why I got the IR and fiber lasers and stuff like that. If I want to do clear acrylic, I'll just put it on one of those. Um, you can do blue, but like you said, the color blue is going to absorb the laser, so you may have to do it at full power, and you might have to do a lot of passes on it for it to eventually cut through. But any other colors, red, green, yellow, purple, I have had no problems cutting it on the Rolly.
All right. Well, I'm having a brain fart here. Uh,
Um, so you ended up resizing the engraving one.
oh yeah. I got to fix that too.
Yeah.
Uh, did I not fix that here? Yeah, I fixed that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, all that. At least all of this one's lined up. I don't know what else. This may have been something else I don't need right now. Uh, Actually, you know what? I don't know what that is. Is that the same? I'm in fact, I'm not going to mess with it. But what I'm trying to do right now was, and I know what it is. In fact, I will just Control D, duplicate that, bring that down here, and snap it there, and then turn that back off, and then A, subtract B. Pretty sure that's what I want. No. Why is that all disappearing? That's not what I expect to have happen here. Control D, duplicate that, bring that over here. Because I've got this is one object, and I want to subtract just that piece down there. Hold shift, select that, and subtract. That whole thing shouldn't be disappearing. That's not working right, is it? Shouldn't I just cut that off? And this, and whoever asked me a minute ago about why not using the Boolean tools, and this is sometimes why. It's not doing what I want to. In fact, I'm going to ungroup that and see. In fact, what was grouped with that? Because that's all one piece. Why was that grouped? Control D. Let's go back. I'm going to go back to, there's it grouped, but I don't know what it's grouped with. So I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm going to start looking for pieces. And Chris, this is some of the things that Lightburn drives me nuts. And I don't know about you guys, but do you find an arbitrary piece down here in the home position sometimes? It just randomly shows up. I see it all the time. But that, just if I go back there, you see that's grouped, right? Because I have the ability to ungroup it. But there's nothing there. If I hit ungroup and then look for whatever it was, Chris says make sure it's a closed shape. All right. Edit. Yeah, closed path is not an option. Let's see here. And Russ, I think, has got us muted. But Andy's asking Russ if you cleaned up your edges after acrylic, but I'm pretty sure you got just a real clean cut, right?
Generally, what I end up doing, it does a clean cut. You may see a little bit of white on the edges, so I'll just take a piece of sandpaper and lightly sand around the edges, and then I just take a microfiber cloth and wipe it off with the cloth.
And Sharon's asking what brand translucent acrylic are you using? Where did you get it?
I bought it off of Amazon. I'm not really sure what the brand is.
While I'm trying to figure this out and get my shape cut, do you mind? Because I'm kind of curious too. Do you mind logging into your Amazon, find your history, and then you can share in the comments here the brand and all, and people can get what you've got. All right. If I turn everything back on, because Bob's asking, was there another layer there? No, okay. Thank you, Bob. Golly. All right. Yeah, sometimes that's what it was. And Andy said the same thing. That's the layer that I had turned off. Golly. And Chris says the artifact in the corner they know and work on from time to time, but it's a bit of a mystery. Yeah, that artifact is a pain in the butt sometimes.
Okay, it's 11 pack of 8x10 color translucent acrylic. Brand is Kingmu, Kingmu.
All right, hold on a second. I'm going to do something. I'm going to go here. We'll go to Amazon. I'm going to share a link with you guys. All right, what was that brand?
Kingmu, Kingmu. And it's a 11 pack 8x10 color translucent acrylic. Thickness 0.08 inches.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's it right there. Yep.
All right. I'm going to share a link in the comments for you guys. All right. Copy. Paste. All right. There you go, guys. That's the piece.
And that's what I was telling you about. That's why I'm doing, like, the turtles and stuff like that, because I had so many different colors because it was a multi-pack, and I'm sitting there going, okay, what am I going to do with the green? What am I going to do with the purple?
Yeah. All right, so back.
This is what I ended up doing. Purple. It's a cat sitting on a windowsill.
Meow.
Yeah. And the thing I like about those, because I use the translucent, and the reason is because I like doing those things that you can hang them on the window, let the sun, shine through.
Oh yeah. All right. And so if y'all were watching, I did with your help. I realized yes, there was a layer in there that I forgot about that was turned off. We got it fixed and it's back on there. And now I've got this box down here that I want to cut off and create that straight edge there. But I want that same line on both layers. So I need to duplicate this, Control D, duplicate it, because when I use it once to say A subtract B, that's layer's now gone. It's not theirs, but I created a duplicate that I can then put on the gold layer and say A subtract B. And I actually had too many. There we go. I had too many copies there. So now those are got the same lines across there on both those layers. Uh, and if we put it back in fill mode, and let's see, I'm gonna move that one. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that gives me the exact layer. And actually, this is going to be the red layer, the fill layer is actually a line mode. He's going to cut that out and engrave this. So actually, what I need to do is I need to get rid of this now. I'm going to come over here and the black layer there, that's the background. That's actually going to be a cut layer. And then that's a line. And then this gold will be an engrave and it'll be fill. All right. And because that'll be, you won't see any of that flag. It's going to be covered up by the solid piece.
Yeah,
So
you can kind of see with the fill how it's going to look. That the engraving's going to stick out from the blue of the stars and everything of the flag behind it.
yep. So I need to get rid of this guy and get rid of that guy. We're going to group those again and bring it back over here and put it in the center and the bottom. All right. You good with all those positions?
Yeah.
All right. We don't need this anymore. I've got everything turned on. I'm showing everything. Just like my high school sweetheart. She showed everything. All right. Sharon says, thanks, Russ and Steve. The files you showed Russ are awesome. Thanks.
This one here. This is one of your designs, Steve. One of your
Oh,
earlier
yeah.
design.
Oh, my. It's funny you pull that up and make us see those.
Yep. Yep. And
That's
this one I did with two. Blue acrylic and the purplish acrylic.
yeah. That was my attempt. I seen a sign at Hobby Lobby that looked like stained glass. That was what I was going for. And yours looks more like this.
This is why you want to go gold. I got this being a gold Patreon and everything, and got it off of your hobo with wood, and
That's yeah,
so that would look great in acrylic.
yep, and it does because that was the whole idea. Was I was wanting to do stained glass, and that translucent acrylic it pulls that off perfectly.
Yep. You know what's cool also too is, like I said, when you get the sun, put it in the window and everything, you get the sun shining through it, and then you'll see this pattern of the butterfly and everything on your floor.
Oh yeah, that's wicked. Chris says you have to cut you have a cut at the bottom of the gold layer. Well, it's black layer now, and I seen that uh, the background flag would be good in translucent. Oh yeah, Uh, that'd be that'd be a trick because we got the white background. He's talking about doing if the red. If you have a red and white translucent, well, that's a lot of work. You do red, white, and then blue translucent too to try to make the actual flag, the back flag, to where it was acrylic.
Yeah.
And that's a Chris, you creating a whole lot of work here. All right, let's see here.
That would be a nightmare to get all those stars out of acrylic because, sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through it. It's plastic, it melts,
Yep, yep,
and,
yep,
and that could be a nightmare getting those out.
yep. Kevin says, cool design. However, it seems like the flagpole going up to the little flag is going to be very fragile. It's going to be a delicate piece, but because these are going to be multiple layers, and I increased that flagpole to where it's 3 millimeters here across, and the material thickness is going to be a minimum of 3 millimeters, so that's going to be square. And because it's going to be 3 millimeters square, it will be a square. It'll be pretty solid in all but one direction. If you try it, the flexible part from the flag to here, it could be a little fragile, but this is going to be a solid piece, guys. You're not going to see the flag through this flag, right? You're not going to see the red, white, and blue here. This will be the natural wood area, right?
Yep.
So this is a solid piece. In fact, let me put the red back in.
The other thing too, because we discussed that when you're cutting that with the laser, that flagpole is a delicate point. But after you get it cut out, you're going to see where there's points where it's going to be glued to the mountain.
Yeah.
And that's going to give it additional support.
Yep. And that's what I was going to say. What you could do is if you don't put any spacing between them, this part of the flagpole will be sitting right on the mountains. You put a little glue there, that's good and secure. And then here, this is going to be raised above the second layer. So there will be a gap between here and here, but you could double up your spacer and put 2 spacers behind the center part of the flag.
Yeah. Like we discussed earlier, where you could cut out a little square and drop a little square in there.
And put a support behind that flag on top to glue it to that flag. You can do this and make it where it looks super fragile, and it will be fragile getting it all for the laser bed, and that's why you're going to have a really cool laser like the Rolly and good machine cleanliness, and you get good clean cuts and good clean drops using good material, and that just drops out, and you're very delicate with it. And like this little guy right here, that part is going to be a little bit delicate, but that's got a solid piece behind it that's just engraved.
The other thing also too is that some of these pieces being smaller, this is a good way to use some of the scrap pieces from your boneyard.
Yep. Now, do you want, and I'm just now looking at this, with that helmet, the way it's currently designed, you will see that other layer behind it, because I've got the red in fill mode right now. So that's your solid piece that's cut out.
Yeah. I mean, one thing you could do, I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into it, but you could get into node editing and you could connect it to the arm.
That's what I was going to ask you if you wanted to do. If you make that solid, and that's what I would probably do. It'll help.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it'll help with the fragile part of it. And then down here, that should be all in the red layer. That should be, I got to look at that. Let me pull that off and look at it. Because all of that should be.
I think the reason for that is because the bottom of that was open. But again, if you go into your node editing and you just draw a straight line at the bottom and then connect the 2 end pieces, it would probably fill that in.
All right, so let's grab that, and actually we'll go to, And this is why the wireframe mode is so cool. You can go in there and you know exactly what you're grabbing. I want that one. And turn off what you don't want. I don't want that. Actually, I do want that. Actually, so that's selected. Oh, those are grouped. That's cool. All right. So those were, I had temporarily grouped. So now I've got them. I'm going to pull that back off over here. Put that back in fill mode. I want to connect those. So I'm going to, in fact, I've got those grouped. That's the black and the red layer. That's why that's showing a group. I ungroup it. And I'm going to select from right to left. And it's still grouped in here, but only those are not. In fact, let's pull that down. Is that not shown? Did I not get the red one? Laser, window, field. Yeah, the red's there. Oh, the red is grouped. And that's okay. Ungroup, ungroup, ungroup. Everything's ungrouped now. And if I go back, if I try to come in here now, will that work? I'm trying to grab the nodes on the black layer and the red layer at the same time. Let's see if that worked. So if I select all of those right there and just bring that over, I don't want to bring, it didn't let me grab all of them. Grab all of that. There we go. Overlap it. Needs to have a little more curve to it, but I'll make, if I'm not able to, okay, there's the red, there's the black. Okay. And honestly, that from there to there, that looks fine. And then go back to window. Where'd you go? Why'd you do that? What's that?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I don't know why it made it longer, but that's the original line there on the helmet. You know, there must have been a node there, and then it somehow, got deleted and pulled that out.
Well, we don't want this piece here anymore, right? Or no,
Yeah,
we don't.
You
Want to turn the black layer off. There we go. I want to do edit here. And then all that can go bye-bye. And turn that back on.
Yeah, because you're going to have stuff engraved. You actually want to keep that piece on the helmet because that's going to be engraved on the cutout.
Yeah, I realized that. There we go. Like that. So that'll be engraved. And now that is the red part's gone. So that'll be solid with the engraving.
Yep. And so that'll be the solid wood.
and I've got that cut, and that's what they were talking about a minute ago. But that's right now that's fine because we got a lot of this will disappear when I do the border. But those are not part of anything on the cutout. I don't know that we're going to miss that. Where's the red? Let's put this on line mode. If that's his leg that's coming down from there to there, that looks a little. Well, I guess it might be rocks or.
Yeah, that looks like rocks. The other one, if you go a little more to the left, no. Yeah, that piece there, I think that might need to be closed.
From here to here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what is that going to look like if it gets cut out?
Yeah. And that's what I was talking about earlier on about seeing the flag and stuff. Because there's his knee, and that's almost like that's that could be
big
that
thing.
that could be eliminated. Because and to continue that down and have his knee wrap on around here.
Yeah.
In fact, this is what I would do. I would do line. I'm going to grab let's see, node editing. This is I think this is that's the red layer. So I'm gonna get all of this and delete all of that. So that looks better there. This whole area here, that's
going to be cut out. So
yeah. But then you're going to see the flag back there.
Right.
Are you good with seeing the flag back there?
I am, because that's kind of like the point of the whole multi-layer design. But like I said too, if you didn't want that, then you could just put a line along the whole bottom there and connect it on the ends. And then instead of it cutting out everything underneath their legs, that would be solid wood.
And I got, whenever I made my edits, my red layer is open. And the reason I know my red layer is open is I've got everything in filled smooth, and I've got the red layer filled, but it's not filled. So I know that it's open now because of the edits I just did. So let's go in here, and it's not grouped with anything, but it looks like there's some duplicate shapes here. Because I'm not seeing ants everywhere. Maybe the nodes. Let's just try closing the shape and see what happens. Close path. Okay. It wasn't duplicates, just wasn't closed. All right, so now it's closed. grouped.
Yeah, I think I'm actually fine with keeping it that way and letting the flag
Be
show.
seen. Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, that's kind of the whole point of doing multi-layer designs, and that would kind of mess with the structure there of the rocks.
Okay. All right. So what I was thinking, now that we've got everything positioned and centered and the same dimensions, in order to be able to see the flag and also create, we need to have that outer peak down here. These three, and for those who maybe, I'm gonna change the priority and bring that flag proud for a second. There, these three bars down here at the bottom are not attached to anything. So they need to have something, and that's what we're looking at. And if I were to take and right now what is the dimensions? We are
It was what, 8.5 by
eight,
11?
yeah, 8 by 11.5. All right. Um, and if that needs to be your ultimate end goal, um, is to be at that dimension, what I would do is lock my aspect ratio, and I'm going to bring this down to 11 1/4.
My whole thing when I came up with the dimensions and stuff was that first layer of the white piece and the flag with the red and the blue stripes was that it would fit on one piece of 12 by 12,
Gotcha.
Baltic birch. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's pretty much the reason why I came up with that 8 by 11.5 dimension.
All right. Control
And
Z.
and, and then also thinking that it could be done as a plaque, or what we discussed there, that if it is going to be a shadow box, then you're going to have to make a custom frame for it.
So there is a 300 by 300 piece of material. I put that in my home position, and I then bring my entire design onto a piece, and you can get that on there, but boy, you just do. And then also, there is no room now to get that border I was talking about. We need to do the way I'm envisioning doing this. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
you could.
reduce.
Yeah, I was going to say you could actually just select everything and then resize it down so it fits in that 300 by 300.
Yep. In fact, I'll just not worry about just scale this down here for a second, like that. And then here is my thinking about trying to make this look good. Um, you could do, now that I've got, in fact, let's see what this is. This 10.8 and height 7.52. Let's just make that 7.5 with the aspect ratio locked. So now I got one full round nice number. And if I unlock that aspect ratio and just tell that to be 10.8, you're not going to see that. So now I've got two easy numbers to work with because my mind is simple. All right. I would do, if that's 7.5 by 10.8, by 7.5. That's the size of your piece. I would do an outward offset of that outward by 1/4 inch. Delete the original. Say okay, and put that on. We'll put it on each individual layer. And that needs to be in line mode now because that's a cut layer, and I'm going to put that on the center of this, and I'm going to add that same 1/4 inch all the way around to each and every layer. And I'm looking back here at the comments. Node edit works. Yeah, it only works on one layer at a time, as you've seen there, like you said. But I was able to have both layers in node editing, and while only editing one layer at a time, I had it both of them shown, and was easy to just make them match. And Chris Gallagher also, it's a square wood. I ain't sure what that's about. It's a square wood. All right, so by putting that 1/4 inch border around there, and if I come in here, and actually the white layer, the very back, which is this right here, you
Yeah,
don't
it
you don't
doesn't
need
need to have the border.
yeah, you don't need that anymore. So the original white piece is going to be a 1/4 inch all the way around like that, and that's in the very back. Then the next layer is your green layer, which is the flag. So I'm going to duplicate that flag and bring that out here. That's not the flag. That's okay. I needed that duplicated too. Duplicate. There's my green. Control D, duplicate it, and put it in the center of this. And that is actually all going to be cut out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there. Now those, is that going to work?
They're
inverted, aren't they?
Yeah, because the 3 bottom lines are going to be the red lines are still floating.
All right. And
But what if? I mean, what I was thinking.
all right. So the top bar is red. The bottom bar is red. So red, 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 and then red. Those are floating. That don't work.
So
Okay.
okay. So what I was thinking is, what if you took the ends off of each one of those?
Yep. And go over here to, let's see, ungroup, and you could do 100 different ways, but if you, so it's red, 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 red. This needs to be red. So
I mean, I don't know if you could just remove that middle node on each one of those.
well, that wouldn't delete the line. Is that ain't gonna work either? I'm misunder. Actually, you need to invert those, don't you? Because these need to be cut out.
Right. Yeah.
These,
all the white ones need to be cut out.
so that's actually all we need to do. This is cut out. That's red. White shows red. White shows red. White shows red. And then this needs to be cut out. That's what it needs to be done. Control Z. This needs to be.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. The ones in between.
Yep. And there we go. Everything's grouped back. Ungroup it. So that one just needs to be moved up here and cut that out so you see the white, correct?
Right.
All right, so let's grab these 3 and group them. Move that up here. That's going to cut out, and you'll see white. This will be painted red. This will be cut out showing white. This will be red, white, and red. And then it won't matter about this bottom 1/4 because it's going to be covered up. So will that work? You've got an overlapping line here, but it's not, that doesn't matter, does it? Is that going to work? let's do Control D, duplicate that and put that on a light color and put it in fill and move that to the back. So that's the white layer. Put this in fill. I'm confusing myself. I can't see the forest for the trees.
It looks good except for the bottom line. I mean, but you're saying that it's going to be covered, so
Yeah.
it's not going
Yeah.
to be bigger than
Right.
the rest.
Yeah. Because that's red, red, red. In fact, let's invert that. Can we do that? Let's. Oh, dummy. Ah. Sometimes you just hit a wall. And that's where I'm at right now. I've just hit a wall. You have a double white under the stars. You have a double white under the stars. If it was double, wouldn't be there. I don't think there's a double there. But that's what I was trying to get just now. So this will be painted blue, then you have a painted red, painted red, painted red, painted red. But this will cut out and fall away. Well, see, that's where that's solid. I thought I had it figured out. What are you seeing that I'm not getting right there, Russ? Anybody?
Well, I see what they're saying about the double red, next to the stars and under the stars. I just need to look and see what the configuration is there. Red, white, red, white.
Yeah, this should be red at top, red, 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 and this one will be white. But see, reason I've got it like this is this would actually be cut out and fall away, and you'll see the white underneath. You see the white underneath, see the white underneath. But I got to, yeah, Bob. Some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug.
So what you're saying is correct. The configuration is correct, even though those two look red. The one next to the stars is a red line, then the one underneath it is white, then red, then white, then red, then white.
Fact, let's do this. No, not that, because that's going to be a lighter color. And then, yeah, because if all of that cuts out, in fact, let's put this and this in line mode. And that cuts out. Damn it, Bobby. Yeah, the border won't be seen, Bob. That's the idea. The border will be hidden. I think this is the right layout. I think. So all of this actually needs to be just on the red layer. It's all going to be cut out. So this piece will be one solid piece and cut out, and that's and oh, wait a minute. I see a problem. Oof, oof, oof. All right. We need to do this. We need to come in here with our square. The union is square, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Well, our union's not quite square. But if I bring that up here to there, I actually need to, that needs to be solid. All of that needs to be solid. That, if I move this out the way, that area right here from here to here and here, that don't need to be cut out. That needs to be part of that solid piece. And wait, see, now I'm getting myself all discombobulated because that's got to stay attached.
Yeah. And, it doesn't matter that there's not a square around there, because usually when I do things like this, I'll just take, like the masking tape, and I'll tape off everything that is red, just to, leave that square exposed, and then spray paint that blue.
Now I see it. Now I see it. Now I see it. Now I see it. All right. Bear with me a minute, guys. Guys, I'm going to go deaf and mute for a minute because if I say anything, I'm going to lose this. All right. So let's do this. That's group. That's fine. Now I want to come over here. And this one. And to make that perfectly centered, I grab this one and grab the one below it, group those, and then just tell that other. Well, I had them all grouped. I had them all selected. Grab just this one and grab just this one and group it, and then take that one that's not grouped and tell it to go to the center of that group. And now it's perfectly positioned. Now, if I put all of these on the red layer, those are going to cut out. So now I've got a solid block. This top piece will be red. The dimensions aren't right. That's fine because the border is going to be covering that up. But that's red. This is red. This is red. Red. In fact, let's put it in fill mode. Fill. So everywhere that's white will be red. Is that right? Yeah, I don't have the spacing right there. Those got mixed up, but that's how we need to do it. The white, the star, everything that's the stars will be cut out so you see the white behind it. In fact, let's put that in the black layer. Actually, how many have I got there? Yeah, I got 2 copies there. So put that on that and move that back there. There we go. So now we're getting, I've got to get the spacing right, but there we got white stars, red stripe at the top, and red stripe at the bottom. Right?
There should be 3 red stripes
At the bottom.
at the bottom.
Yeah, I got to get all that figured out and correct. But now we've got the concept right. Yeah, too many stripes. So delete that. And this one is too high. That's why the spacing is all screwed up. But now we've got the concept right. Now I just got to figure out all the spacings. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There'll be one more at the bottom. So, all right. For giggles, let's put this back in line mode, or put that on toolpath. There we go. And then I'm going to select these 3. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do even better. I'm going to take this. I'm going to do an inward offset of 1/4 inch, because that's the original size of your flag you had. Do not delete the original. Say OK. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get my rule and I'll measure that. And what does it come out to? It comes out to 7.5 inches. I need 13 stripes at 7.5 inches. So if I get me a rectangle and I want it to be, the height is 7.5 divided by 13. There's the height of each stripe. I bring that over here and I align it with the right or the left side of that. There's where your original position was. And then if I bring it down, and actually, you know what? I know I'm going to bring that down to there. There we go. And then I can trim that off to there. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Now I'm going to get rid of all of these, delete them. And that is a height of 5,769. So an array with, see, columns, rows, reverse direction, 0.5769. That gives me the, and then there we go. That gives me the perfect spacing. Say okay. Ungroup those. Grab these 3 and align it to the left side. There we go. I don't need that. Well, actually, I do. I need to trim that all off. And actually, I should be able to use that as my cut tool. So let's grab all of these, group them, and then subtract that. Control B. Is it the union? Nope. That intersection. All right. And now put all of those on the red. And put that on the red. So that'll cut out. These will cut out. You'll see the white stars. and you'll see the white bars. Oh, wait, I got those inverted, don't I? Dadgummit. Because we don't want to see white there. We want to see white here. So I need to have, and actually there's only three. There's too many. How many bars are in the union? Just 3? Actually, you know what? Let's go back. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 4. 4 bars in the union, 3 at the bottom. Okay. That are red. So that. All right. Okay. I'm getting there. What was that? It was 5769. Window, not window. 5769. Move arrow 0.5769 is my move arrow. So I grab all of these and move it down. Then this one, actually I need to just duplicate this, Control D, duplicate that one and put it over that one. Not there in the center, dummy. That works. And align that to the left and then delete that one and delete that one. And now put all that on red. So everything that's red solid here will be white. So for giggles, put all that on a lighter color and put the red and actually there's too many reds there. Delete that and then put that and fill. There we go. Did we get there?
Yeah, that looks right.
And the top edge is wider and this is wider, but that's because that's going to be covered up. But red. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And I think that's going to work and be perfect. Good golly, Miss Molly. All right.
The thing is too is that you're going to cut the first one out, and you're going to put it together, and you're going to see little. Maybe I should tweak this and do this.
Yep. All right. So, actually, I think all that just needs to be on the red layer. And that's going to be in align mode. Now, how do you feel about me cleaning those stars up and actually making them crisp?
That's fine.
Three 367. I'm gonna try something I ain't done in a long time. 367. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to need to do an extra row so I can get them all correct. And then I need to one, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you know what? Golly, sometimes I get in my own way. Sometimes I do this all the time, actually. But there's an array, and I can delete the extra ones and make cancel. Go to my flags. This is the beauty of having an art library. I've got a flag already, and I've already got crisp straight line stars in it. Grab those, bring them over here, get rid of that, put all that on the cut layer, group those, and then I'll just need to make it match your dimensions. So if I grab your stars, they are grouped, and I'm going to group these three. And what is this? This is 399 to 367. Oh. Don't like that. But I don't think there's a way to do that without. Oh well, and whenever I created my flag over here, I actually went onto the government website and got all the dimensions. So all of those spacings and everything is exactly what the flag is supposed to represent. I'm just going to do what I started to do. Actually, Control Z and ungroup that. Array. And the first time I did a flag, I did a video doing it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I did it, and I had 50 stars, but I had the configuration wrong. And our buddy, one of the first comments that I ever got from Rich, Louisiana Hobby Guy, on any of my videos was him critiquing me. Say, hey, you got 50 stars there, but you got them in the wrong order. I'm like, oh wow, well, hey, I'm impressed that he's even paying attention, but
I never would have known because they all look the same.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 down. I had like, I don't know, I had maybe somehow or another I had them different, where it was 5 across, and I had them just the orientation wrong, and I was like, okay, oops. All right, let's look at the comments here for a second. Yeah, got that right. With the number of times you use, and it's funny. Look at that. Chris says, with the number of times you use a flag, this result needs to be in the art library. And lo and behold, there it is. I had it in my library and just forgot to get it. Chris Gallagher. Now I'm being. Oh my goodness! Look, what's that big word? pedantic. Somebody define that for me. I didn't go to college. But top row of stars, the bottom lines up the bottom of the red. Uh, don't forget to put one for. Oh my goodness! Yeah, we need 51 stars. One for Canada. What about Greenland? Am I missing something? 9 by 6 equals. Yeah, I've got too many, Andy, and you'll see. I got to fix them. I had to do that in order to get the orientation right. All right, so let's increase my spacing here to where it looks good, and then I'll shrink it down over yonder to make it fit where I need it to fit. Don't group the results. Say okay. Because in order, I had to go an extra number across the top. I needed, and I'll explain that to you. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows across the top. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I had to do 7 because if I do 6 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, I don't. No, I don't. These are the extras. I need to select those 4 and get rid of them. So there's 54. So don't group them. Say okay, and then grab these 4 and delete those. Now group that and bring that over here and see about stretching it up to fit. And I can live with that. I can make that work. All right, so this was 399, or just say 4. And that was 367. So I can delete that group, select. Actually, before I do that, Control Z, I'll put that in the center of this one. And now I can delete that one and take that group and put it in the center of these that I grouped earlier. And there. And now those are nice, crisp, straight lines. I like my stars to be stars. All right, I'm happy with that. Group all that. You happy with that?
Yep, that looks good. That just makes me think about Dr. Seuss and everything, and they got stars upon ours. And
all right, so I'm gonna select that and bullseye it. And then I'm going to select my green layer and delete it. All right. And now, what is that right? No, what is that right there? That is part of the original green layer. That was the cut. Yeah. I don't think I need that. I'm not going to delete it yet. All right, there's the flag layer. Yeah. And that's the back layer. So there's layer 1. I'm going to pull them off and label them. All right, so there's layer 1. This is layer 2. Right now,
yeah, then the mountains would be 3.
Yep, and that's going to be on a cut layer, and that's going to be a solid piece. Now here's the problem. All right, if that's a solid piece, I need to get rid of. You want these to be attached. Let me get my Iwo Jima out of here for a second. And that's Iwo Jima. Those should have been grouped. All right. And if this is the outer piece that's going to cut out, then it needs to come into here. And cut. Is this? Or actually, from here, offset that inward like that. Say okay. And then that, subtract that. There we go. Right?
Yeah.
So group that. I'm going to duplicate that and bring it up here. Layer 3. Then this is all going to be, well, actually, it's not all going to be, it will be engraving. So that's fine like it is. We need to group those two layers and put it back in the center, the bottom. And now this one, I can ungroup. Actually,
is that the engraving with the cutout?
Yeah. Is this going to be the very, very top? Well, actually, if I'm going to do what I want to do, my plan is that this piece, we want to see the flag. Let's bring the flag back down here. You don't want to see that. And in order to get this top bar and bottom bar and this all hidden and see just the flag, then there's going to be a top piece of frame that's going to be a decorative frame that's going to come out here on top of this. And this actually will need to be, if you want to see all of their feet, anything that's below this 1/4 inch line right here, if you lose that part of it, is it going to kill you?
No.
All right. I'm going to get rid of this over here as well. All right. So let's put that in line mode. And they're ungrouped. Actually, grab Control Z, go back to group. There we go. We'll duplicate that, bring that over here, ungroup it. All I want is the original, the outline piece. Go away. Grab my Iwo Jima. Offset inward 1/4. Oh, did my hat? I didn't have a cut. They wasn't grouped. Good Lord. Goodness gracious. I thought I had that grouped. And you're okay with seeing the flag through there, you said, right?
Yep.
But that little guy there, we don't need. And I don't think that makes that much of a difference. And we'll get rid of the.
It's like I said, seeing everything through the different layers. That's like the charm of the multi-layer.
All right. Actually, I need to duplicate that and then group that. Move that over here for a second. Turn my black layer back on. Create that offset. And I'm coming up on 10 minutes before I'm supposed to meet Don, but I don't know if Don's actually in here or not, but I'm going to invite him in here to this stream. I've got another appointment, guys, to talk with another patron about another design at 2 my time, 1 central. So let's see. Okay. And now let's put all of that. Actually, let's group all of that. No, I don't want to group it all. I need to leave it ungrouped because just the outer piece. So A, subtract that. What's the matter? Why is it an open line? Edit. Yep. Close path. A, subtract that. Put it on the cut path. Ungroup it. And I may not have even needed to create that one I just did. This may be all I need right here. Oh, wrong button, stupid. Letter D, not delete. Yeah, I think that's all I need, actually. I don't even think I don't need that. Get rid of you. Group those. Select all the black and group all that black. Put it in fill mode. Oh, I needed that dadgummit because now it's, well, yeah, stupid. I need to duplicate that. Control D, duplicate the outside piece, put that on the red layer, and then turn off this black layer, and then A, subtract B, clean that up again. Dadgummit, I did it again. Letter D for delete. I ain't sure about all that right there. But Group all that, and that's, I'm on now. That's layer 4. And now if to hide all that and still see all the flag and stuff, I'm glad I'm not the only one that but what, Andy, I do it all the time. You've watched me do it 4 or 5 times right here. All right. Now what I would do, this would be a little bit of waste, but it's going to give you that definition of the flag you wanted. And actually, you know what? Let's do this. All right. I'm going to duplicate all of this. Actually, you know what? Turn off the toolpath. I'm going to duplicate all that. Control D, bring that up here. And now I'm going to put these on layers so I can see the colors. All right. So that's going to be white. And
white.
this is going to be red and fill. And I'm going to put that on top of there and put that at the back. There we go. And then this is going to be painted off a bunch of different colors. So we'll just put it green and fill for now, and then put it on top of that. And then I'm okay with that being like it is for right now. Put that on top of that. And now, see, your flag is correct as far as, you know, the spacing between your bars, top and bottom. And actually I need to move the green layer down. There. Now, and actually, because that's on a different layer, it's not showing up right. So let's put this red layer. Let's ungroup that. And the red layer we'll put there and fill, and move it to the back there. Group that and put that on top there. So that's how it would look right now without any further modification.
Yeah, I think that looks good.
What does the peanut gallery think? Let me. All right. I need to send him an email real quick. I'm going to. I cannot. All right, here we go. Invite guest, copy. Let me go to my email. Oh, let's see. Paste, send. All right. So we might have another person jump in here in a second. Dr. Max, let's go back here and here. All right. So we got Andy says looks good. Kevin likes it. Bob likes it. Russ, which roller do you have? Bob's asking.
The XW.
With 30 watt?
Yep.
And do you cut the acrylic with the 30 watt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only thing I use the 10 for is to do engrave, because it seems like, you know, you get better engravings by using the 10 watt. In fact, I think
Oh,
pretty sure I showed you this. And
oh yeah, but everybody ain't seen it. Let me pull you up here full screen.
yeah, and that took 17 hours to engrave at 10 watts.
But that is beautiful. That's so three-dimensional. It's beautiful.
And I mean, Hobby Lobby, $4 piece of wood.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you turned that into $100 piece of artwork.
I sold it. The people that wanted it, I sold it to them for $75.
Yeah, and that's cheap. I'm being paged. I got to go let somebody out. I'll be right back. I'll be right back, folks. Y'all talk amongst yourself.
I had somebody who asked me to make them a light multi-layer of a surfer on a surfboard. And I told them that when I was doing this, it made me think of the Beach Boys. And they asked me if I could get it to play music. So I put a Bluetooth speaker on top of it so it would play music. Those are just the crazy ideas that I get. And this is the other acrylic that I just finished. It still needs to be painted with the glitter. Kevin, if you were asking about that Last Supper, that took like 17 hours to do that engraving at 10 watts. And Andy, if you were asking about this one, it's just two. It's the layer of acrylic and then the wood layer of the turtle. And we were talking early, all that acrylic, I just cut it on the rolly.
Oh. And I heard a chirp. Yep. All right, Max. Max, well, let's see here. Add to stage. There he is. All right, Max, you're in the green room right now, Max. I haven't added you to the stage because before I do, I want to make sure that you're okay with me bringing you into this studio. There's me, you, Russ, and about 7 people watching. You okay with joining in with this? Okay, I'm going to add you to stage. All right. So, we've been designing all morning.
You left me to entertain the troops, Hobo.
Well, if it wasn't for my troops, I wouldn't be here. And this is what we've been working on. Let's see here. This was Russ's idea, and this is a well, how many layers? 4 layers, Russ?
Yeah, 4 layers. Yep.
4 layers. What I need to do right now, Max, is I need to finish this up and get it saved and email this over to Russ so he can get it tested, because this is just a concept. Nothing's been cut or designed or tested yet. So this actually needs to be in line mode. I don't need any of this up here anymore, right? That was just for
seeing the layers.
Yeah, so we can get rid of all that. And now just take these and make sure everything's grouped. It is. And I don't want to share this file with anyone yet because it's not tested. I'm going to email this file to Russ. This is his baby. He can do the and actually I had I think Moses said he's going to send me a box of material. I'm still out of Baltic birch, so I can't even test it right now. But he said God bless him, he's going to send me a box. All right, file, save as. We're going to go to desktop and Patreon shared files. This is going to be a new folder. This will be Russ.
Depending on when you send the email, I'll try and work on it either tonight or tomorrow.
I'm going to send it to you right now.
Right. So I'll probably start working on it tonight.
Oh, I just messed up though. File, save as, because I was talking and not paying attention to what I was doing. That's okay. Because you only need the Lightburn format. You don't need a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep.
All right, that's saved, and I'm going to email you right now. Because if I don't do this right now, it may or may not happen. Russ, reply. Here you go. Attach. Desktop, Patreon, shared files. Russ Memorial Day, open and send. All right. So, that's not what I want. That's what I want. All right. So check your inbox. The 9 of you that have hung out this long, hey, I hope you learned a little something. Once Russ has this completed and tested, he'll give me some feedback on what needed to be changed, modified, how it needs to work. If he gets it done before live stream tomorrow, great. We'll share it in the stream. If he has, at least if he gets a photo to me, I can share it in the stream. If he's not available to join the stream, but if not, it'll be in next Saturday's stream for sure. If not sooner, but it'll be for everybody to see by then.
I just got your email, so I'll start working on it. I should be able to.
You don't have it finished yet? All right. Good. And now the doc, Max, he's got something he's wanting to work on, and I'm going to switch gears and figure out what he's got and what he wants and go from there. So this is the first time I've done a design like this in the stream for patrons to see. But this is stuff that I do all week long. I've just never shared it in a stream like this. So if you have an idea or a concept, Russ was welcome to put in and contribute, and he changed this or this, but it's collaboration, and between the two and or more minds, then it can really turn out something really nice. All right, well, Russ, you are welcome to hang around and while I shift gears and figure out what he's got going on. But if you need to jump and get busy making this thing, go do that.
I'll probably hang out for a couple of minutes, but then I'm going to drop off, get something to eat, and then I'll start working on it.
Okie doke.
All right. Thanks.
All right, bud. All right. So, do you want me to kick you to the green room, or you still? Are you going to click over and watch it, or you're welcome to? You know what? You're welcome to hang right where you're at and chime in
Uh,
when you want to.
I'll hang out here for a little bit, and then, like I said, I'll drop off, get something to eat, and then start working.
All right. All right, Mr. Max. You say you got it's a door nameplate you want to fix?
Yes, sir, it is. The layout is pretty much what our graphics department wants it to look like. But I couldn't do that belt. I messed with it for like 2 hours the other day at work, and I was finally like, okay. I was like, I need Steve or somebody to help me because I cannot. I could do the straight line. I couldn't do that knot thing they wanted at the end. I said, I don't know when they showed me that. So.
All right. So I got your email. Let me share. Is it okay if I share all this?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah, please.
All right. So this is all right. All right. Download this and go over to Lightburn, and I've saved that and shared it so I can say new. Open downloads. Open. All right. So what are you not happy with?
I think everything right here looks okay, or community development thinks it looks okay, so I'm happy with that. But they want that belt that's in the picture, the green belt that's in there. They want that on the nameplate as well, and I
Okay.
just could not figure out how to do it.
Oh, the belt there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to download this, go back to Lightburn, and I'm going to import that image, and I'm going to rotate it. All right. So it's pretty much just a simple line with the knot around the end of it. You know what? Let's try and let's see how well this will trace out. It might trace out well enough that we can get by with it, but let's see. First thing, it's very, very low resolution. So I'm going to adjust the image I'm right click and adjust image. And right now, as you can see, it's a very low 254 DPI. So I'm going to increase that to 500 DPI. That's 500. There we go. And say okay. So I've just doubled the resolution, and I'm going to try tracing the image. And for whatever reason, it's put it in that mode. Let's make it full screen. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And I can, and so it's not straight lines, and I can straighten out the lines to make that piece, the knots where it's critical. So I'm going to play with the knot. At least I thought I was. So there we go. All right. It may not have enough. There we go. There we go.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. In fact, that's pretty straight across there. I can maybe play with that and see what it comes out with. Let's say okay. And put that on the engrave layer. Get rid of, it was grouped. Control Z, ungroup it. Let's get rid of that. Group all that back together. And bring that back in here. So that's coming.
Oh yeah.
All right, so theirs looks like it goes all the way. It don't look like it's joined. It looks like that line goes all the way through.
That's correct, sir.
So I'm going to put this in line mode, and I'm going to ungroup that. And I'm going to draw a straight line from here to here. Select that line, and I'm going to put it. I'm going to select that line, and I'm going to put it right about there where that started to be, and put it in node editing. And I'm going to bend it around to about there where it kind of lines up with that curve. And then I'll move that back to, we'll just leave it there. And then I'm going to do an offset of that outward. What's going on here? Let's go to metric offset outward. I don't want to do 6 inches. I want to do 0.2, do round, and I'll say okay for now. Delete the original. I'm going to select those two pieces, go ahead and get rid of those, and then A, Control B. Do I want that? No, that. All right, do that, say okay. And where, because that's a bulge, comes up and over, and got that. We got a bulge, comes up over. It's not going to be exact, but we're going to be real close.
I think as long as it's close.
Yep. And then that one's open all the way across, correct?
Yes, sir.
And a little bit of an indentation. That one doesn't go all the way through, does it?
Correct, sir.
Okay. So, but that one needs to come all the way down. So let's ungroup that and put that in node editing. And I'm going to just grab these and I'm going to pull it on down like that. And I need to extend that, close this one. Grab my scissors and cut out what I don't want. All right.
Yeah.
The gap, though, is not the same. Theirs looks like it's pretty equal, and this one's not. So let's go into node editing. Oh, come on. I'm going to grab those, and I'm going to bring it up to where it's about the same as the other gap, about there. And then I can just curve that one out, bring that up here. There we go. And then this one needs to come in a bit.
That is fantastic.
Does that work?
Yeah, that is absolutely incredible. Thank you.
And it goes.
I was making it way harder. I was making it way harder than it needs to be.
All right. And so that goes all the way over to the edge. So I can take that and just draw that on out and then use my scissors to, or actually just duplicate that. Control D, duplicate it, and Control B, intersection. Okay. And now put that back in fill. Oh, these are open shapes. If when I put that in fill and they didn't fill, whenever I did my editing, I left them open. So I can click on that and go to edit, close path. That works. Edit, close path, and that works. There we go.
That's amazing. Oh man. Yeah, thank you so much.
Is that all you needed?
That was it. I had no idea you could select multiple nodes and move them at the same time.
Oh yeah.
This very second. You just did it. I watch the live shows. I don't get to watch them live. I get to watch them late. And every week I see something, and that was I had no clue. That makes sense so much better.
Well, hey, I'm learning. In fact, I wished I could remember. I don't know if it was Sharon. If Sharon's here, I don't remember if Sharon's the one that asked this. I can see the chat, guys, but when I'm in the middle of in the zone right here, I didn't see that. And Russ could see the chat, but let me go back over here. When they want music, I add Spotify QR. Okay, I don't know what that was. How many hours was that engraving? Okay, that was to him. Not sure if he can see the chat. Not sure who you were talking to, Bob, but Russ could see the chat. He did reply, I think. This peanut likes this. Okay, so Sharon liked it. Wow. Yeah, thanks, Russ. All right, cool. All right. Hey, Stephen, welcome. We're just doing some designing. You missed if you just got here, and Sharon, if you just were, I think you got to see the final product we did with Russ. And Max here had a little bit of a design issue. We got worked out. And there was something that I'm learning all the time. And yep, you answered all the questions. Okay. I don't know if it was Sharon that asked or who it was, but in the last time we were doing something like this, there was a question posed about changing the shapes of copies along a path. And because of the way it was worded, I got lost in the weeds and totally forgot. But there is a way to do that. And the person that asked about it, she got her answer on the Lightburn forum. And when she posted or replied to me, I was like, I knew that. In fact, I did a video. Someone who had done a trace of a cribbage board, and because their circles were not perfectly round and circular, they needed to change all those shapes and get them all exactly the same size. And how can we do that without having to select each individual one? And I demonstrated that in the video, but that was more than yesterday. And I forgot. And because the way the question was posed, the question said something about how do I change all the sizes of a shape that was copied along path. Well, because the words copied along path were in there, I got hung up on trying to use that copy along path and all. And it's a simple trick to do that. And I'm going to show you guys that here now. I'm going to show this on tomorrow's live stream as well. But this is a cool tool that so few people know about in Lightburn. And I got to find there it is. All right. So I'm going to go back over here to Lightburn, make this full screen. All right. So just for giggles, I'm going to draw a path. And I'm going to put a shape on it because this is how the question was posed. If I've got this circle right here and I put it on this path, and then I copy that along the path and put multiple copies out there and say, okay. Now, if this circle, if all this was done and I'm 12 steps into this process and I can't just go back and hit undo to quickly change the size of these, if these right now are showing to be 8.9, but I actually need them to be exactly 10 millimeters, instead of grabbing that one and telling it, okay, lock aspect ratio, 10 millimeters, and then select each one and do that all the way around. Because if there was 50 of those, I wouldn't want to do that. Well, this tool right up here, right here, these two, if I select that, well, come on now. Select all those. Yeah. Once you've selected all the shapes, these right here, these tools become highlighted. Make the same selected items the same width, or make the same selected items the same height. And click that, and click that, and it changes them independently. It'll change the width, and then it'll change the height. And now if we go look at these, it made them all. Why didn't it change them all to the 10? It's a priority thing. 10. And Chris, are you still out there? Because like I said, it's been a day and a half since I've done this. 10 millimeters, that's done. And then I want to change all those. Not distribute there. Make selected chain. Nope, that's changing it there. It's making them all smaller. But that right there will change them all to be exact. But I want to go up, and let's go in here and look. All right, let's see. Window, and go to help. Go to online help, online documentation, and that will populate this screen. And then I need to make all same width. There we go. Make same width or height. Make same width, make same height buttons. Resize the objects of your selection to the width or height of a single object in the selection. By default, all selected objects will be resized to the width or height of the last object you selected. Okay. So if we go back here to Lightburn, and I make that one 10, not 1. In fact, actually, we're going to make it even a bigger difference. We'll do 3. Make it really small. So if I select all of these guys and then select that little one and then tell it to go same width, same height. There we go. So, yeah, Sharon, I thought it was you. And she says, yeah, I knew it too, but I totally forgot. And that's what's crazy about all these tools in Lightburn. It can do so much, and we figure out how to do something, and we don't use it for 6 months, and we forget all about it. So I see you got a baby. Who's your baby?
This is Hercules.
Hercules.
And he's 17.
Oh,
so
wow.
Man. And then we have 4 giant dogs on the floor around me. Pit Bull and a Great Dane and a really, really fat Ninpin. He's, yeah.
I'm so happy that he's 17 years old. I mean, that's awesome. I wish that God didn't put such a limit on their lifespan, but 17, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We had one that died 2 years ago that was 26.
Wow.
And I'd had him since I'll be 50 coming up, and I'd had him since I was 22 when he died. So it was, that was like losing my kid. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a cat that, and I like cats, but I wouldn't seek out a cat because cats don't need you except to keep their shit box clean and their food full. You know, they don't care anything about anything else. If they want your attention, they'll come get it. But they own you worse than dogs do. Cats own people. But I had a cat he was almost 18 years old. Wow. And that was rough to lose him. So, but
yeah, this one, I don't know. Hey, he's only got 3 teeth left, so we're gonna see how that plays out. He just had to go to the vet 2 days ago. But he's doing pretty good.
All right, Chris says I have a permanent copy of online help open for reminding me of things. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that. I actually had a thing the other day. It was kind of like a commit board. It was for my clinic, and it had a bunch of circles, and I changed them individually. Yeah. Now, I wish I would have known that because it would have saved me an hour worth of time. I'm going down through there making all those circles correctly.
If someone was breaking into my home, I think I'd rather have a pit bull than a tabby. I tell you what, boy, you ever get a cat after you, that cats can, when they attack, if you've not declawed them, they can hurt you as bad or worse than a dog would. All right, so I need to send you this image, Max.
Thank you so much for the help.
And then you can edit that and change out all the names for everybody as you need them, because that's fixed. And if you find that you need to increase the spacing to get the detail you need, in fact, let's see here. Let's look at one thing before I send this to you, because when I zoom out, how big is that? The actual size you're going to make them?
Yeah, they're about 7x2. The places they go inches. They go on the wall.
All right, so okay. So if you want that, depending on what laser are you using?
Oh, Rolly 30-watt XW.
All right. If you use, depending on the material you cut this on, if you use the 30-watt to engrave this, you may get the kerf or the spot size on it may be so large that you actually lose the detail of that knot.
Okay.
It'll be smoked over and burnt over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, since that's the actual size. And it's not going to be much. I'm going to do, in fact, what I'll do here is I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit and move it over a little bit. And this one, I will node edit. And in fact, I'm just going to delete that node. I hit the delete button again, Control Z, hit the letter D for delete. And in fact, I'm going to get rid of all of them but that corner. And now I've just got that. I'm going to grab that and bend it out to about there. And if do you sand your pieces after you've engraved them, or do you? I just wipe them clean.
I usually just wipe them clean. I'll see what they want, what the community development department wants for these. But I'm hoping I can I have to make 572 of them, so I'm hoping we can just wipe them off. Yeah.
Well, on these, in fact, I think I got one. Yeah, right here. Oh my goodness. The smaller your detail, you can get a whole lot more detail using your 10-watt than your 30-watt for the engraving. This is the Navy seal that I use for my flag cases I make for my beds. And the Army, the Eagle is, there we go. That one's not as detailed as the Marines and the Army. It has the stars up in a seal. And even with the 10-watt, it will get smoky and lose the detail or even black it over. I will take some, this is 320, and lightly sand that area that's not engraved and make those, like where that knot's at.
Yeah.
Sand where those lines are at. That'll make that pop back out again.
Okay.
But you got to do 500 of them, you say?
Yes, almost 600. Yeah. Nearly. Yeah. 572.
What are you cutting them out of?
Right now it looks like I'm going to do them out of birch plywood, and then stain them, put them up. So I told them I'd cut some examples for them and decide what they wanted to do.
All right, I'm going to recommend, because the birch plywood, even if you put a finish on them and you seal them and put a lacquer on them, whatever, over time they're not going to hold up that well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
These are made out. This one is out of, I think this one was oak. But what I recommend you doing, because I'm sure you're getting paid for this, right?
I don't get paid for it, but the clinic reimburses me for material costs. I just volunteer my time and do that.
You a good man.
We're the largest Native American clinic in the United States, so I volunteer a lot of this stuff for free just because we're a nonprofit, so we kind of keep it good.
Well, if you go to WP Hardwoods, West Penn Hardwoods,
yeah,
In fact, I'm gonna pull it up here online and show it and share it with you. I'm gonna grab this pack and show you what I just got. Oh my goodness! All right, so this is what they refer to as a project pack. Project pack. It's 1/8 of an inch thick or 3 millimeters. And this is solid cherry. It's this hardwood cherry. And it's 10 square feet all bundled up. And all of it's 3 mil or 1/8 of an inch. And that's what I cut these little plaques out of. And you can buy this stuff. And this being that it's solid cherry and you put a lacquer finish on it, this is this. And putting the lacquer finish on it makes that pop. All right. And I want to show you this one up close because this is the Army, but I'm going to get up real close and focus that up. See the stars in that seal in there?
Yeah.
And that top piece right there. You know, you can't do that with a 30 watt.
No, that's tiny.
But let me share. And it's WP Hardwoods for West Penn Hardwoods. And if you go to for these nameplates like that, the cherry's good, ash is good. Ash would be a lighter one, but and it's very ash is very, very hard. It's going to hold up for a long time. But ash and the ash has got sometimes a little bit more grain in it, but if you come down to here, once you pick the species and you scroll down to the bottom, you can look and see if they got project packs. Here it doesn't look like they have any project packs. Cherry, species. I'm on species cherry. Domestic lumber, no. And when I visited them the other day, and it was I was up there with Dwayne and Ed. I asked them, I said, how often do you update this? Yes, Bob, they make the bats out of ash. She said she does not update the online as often as she should when it comes to the project packs. But if you call them and say, hey, I'm looking for a project pack with, because this was 10 square feet. And if you're doing them only 7 inches by 2 inches, you can get a ton out of that. And say, I'm looking for either ash or maple or cherry. What do you have in at least 10 square feet? And they'll ship this to you. And this is made out of their scrap. So you get it cheap. You get it really cheap. And the West Penn Hardwoods, and I showed this to Dwayne and Ed when we were up there. If you ever been into some of the wood crafting stores like Rockler, they'll have 24 by 3 inch pieces of hardwoods you can buy. And if you look, there's this barcode on it. Well, every single one of the pieces they got at West Penn have those same barcodes. They all get it from West Penn. But if I'm gonna make 500 of these, and I want them to last as long as the employee is there or the volunteers there, then I probably wouldn't do them out of the plywood. And if they're going to reimburse you, in fact, I wished I could find. In fact, I probably do have it right here. Let's see here. That's not the project pack. Let's see here. Tear it up, stupid. That's the cutoff. Is that project pack? Nope, that's not that. I'm going to see it. I think I got the receipt for this thing right over here. Oh, my. Nope. No, I don't. Anyway, I would contact them and see if it can't be had cheap enough that you can make that worthwhile, and they'll look better and last longer. All right, let me email this to you. All right, file. Let's see, I don't need that. We're going to save that, and actually, you know what? I'm going to say save as, just so I can distinguish which ones. So you don't have a question about which file is yours, which one was. This one's going to be called the same thing, but hobofied.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, good.
So save, and it's in the downloads and email. I always have trouble. I don't need that anymore. There we go. Close. Reply. Here you go. And attach. Downloads. Hobofied. Open and send. All right. Check your inbox there in a second and verify you got it and it looks good.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see here. The change circle has to be last. Yep, got it. What a cutie. Great idea, Chris. Did you? Yeah, Chicago Bob asked, did you quote them $10 a piece for those 500 nameplates?
I should have.
Sharon, when you do cribbage board, you can make an array for the holes, then copy the array along path. And I don't know if Sharon was doing a cribbage board. That's just I mentioned cribbage because that's when I demonstrated that tool. It was when someone had a problem with their cribbage board. And hello, Miss Gail. I've been here. I've been live now for a little over 3 hours. For anybody that didn't see it, I'm going to bring it up one time and show you. When I first went live today, it was with Russ. Russ had an idea, a concept for a Memorial Day design, and he wanted to collaborate on it. And file, say new, recent Memorial Day, save. And he and I worked together, and the people, a lot of you that were here watched, but not everybody got to see this because there's been a few people that popped in. And this is 4 layers and share. And the way he's going to do this one, duplicate that. That's, in fact, we'll just send it to the center. That one is going to be painted white. Then the next layer would be this one. Duplicate that, put it on a red layer and send it to the center. Then this one, Control D, duplicate it. This one, he's going to paint the mountain peaks, I think white, so that, or maybe black. I don't know what he's going to do there, but he'll do a silhouette of the mountain peaks and then paint the trees green. So that one's going to be multiple color, but we're going to put it on, we'll put it just on another layer so you can see it. And then Purple Mountains Majesty, there we go. And then center that one. And then lastly, this one. And Control D, duplicate it and send that to center. And bring the priority down so we can see it. There we go. And there, and put that in fill. And actually, we'll need to put that down. There we go. So that's That's the design we created earlier. Oh, Mr. Gale. I am sorry. 86-year-old great-grandfather Gale. Well, you know what? It's funny, Gale, because and you just got me sidetracked, but my grandfather's name was everybody called him Gay. His name was Gaither, but his nickname was Gay, and all his life he was gay, and he was gay long before gay was gay. So my apologies for assuming that the name Gail was female. So hello, sir. Welcome. Sorry about that. Let's see. Switch back to here. So there is the design we did earlier today. And Russ has this, and he's going to be trying to work on it. He might still be in the chat somewhere, but he said he was going to jump off and go to work. But the way this is going to be designed is you're going to see it just like I have it layered here. You'll see the flag behind the mountains through the middle here. And I think it's going to look pretty cool when it gets done. He very well make some modifications to it before it's all said and done, because when we designed it, we just did this in the stream and nothing's been tested. There may be some modifications needed. But he's done a lot of layered designs. He does some really cool things with spacers to create extra dimensions. So that's going to be cool when he gets it done. So Sharon's jumping off. Thank you. Yeah, tomorrow. Good God. Boy. Tomorrow's live. I've been live already, 3-4 days this week, plus tomorrow. I tell you what, I think I'm going to have to give myself a new moniker, the hardest working laserologist on YouTube. And Gail says my older sister called me gay. All right, yeah, ain't many folks in the family tree that are gone that I really, really miss, but I really miss my grandfather Gay. He was a really good man. All right. So Max, you're good. You're square. I've turned you on to West Penn Hardwoods for suggestions on those. And did you get the email?
I did, sir. I just opened it. It looks good.
Excellent. All right. Anything else I can do for you today?
That's it. Thank you so much for your help.
All right, brother. I'm gonna kick you out of here and see if anybody else sees anything before I jump off and go get some lunch.
Have a great day. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one, man. Have a good day. All right. So the remaining 10 of you that are here, some of you have been here for the better part of 3 hours. Some of you just got here. Why you've got me? Is there anybody here that needs anything? Speak now. Y'all about did this to me the other day where I was like, I was going to wrap that Tuesday up. It was Tuesday or Wednesday. I was going to wrap it up after 20 minutes because didn't nobody have anything. And the next thing I know, somebody else started talking, and then we were here for almost 2 or 3 hours. Oh, Chris, I'm going to need to ask you, you're still here. What did you determine to be the issue with those crazy art libraries? You've got the link to jump in the studio here and Patreon if you want to jump in and we can converse, because you and one other person so far has had issues with those 3 pieces. And I'm curious as to why you had them and nobody else had an issue. You did the black acrylic. Excellent. I'd love to see a picture of it. I'd love, because those the wings look too good to have just a piece of birch in there. Now, if it was an exotic hardwood of some type that had some crazy, beautiful grains on it, and the engraving showed up, or you did color field in that, something like nasty. This is my zebra wood box. It's covered in sawdust. I got to take better care of my stuff. But, a real pretty, zebra wood, and something like that with an engraving, and because there's so much grain going on, you might have to have some color filled or something. But that birch just wasn't enough for those wings. Okay, let me run out to the shed. All right, so Chris is going to run out to his man shed, and he's going to jump on here. And for those who are unaware, Chris had an issue where he was downloaded the art library that I shared with the gold patrons for this month, and 3 of the 18 or 20 some odd art files, when they loaded with the fonts inverted and flipped, almost like it was an issue with the origin, like it was he opened but it wasn't the whole image, it was just the font, I think. And one other person had that issue, but everybody else thinks, no, it works fine. So it's really strange that everyone didn't have that experience. And he was testing it and trying to figure out what was going on. So hopefully he'll jump up here in a minute. What's inside here? Something. Oh, I forgot about this. This is my mixtape. This is actually pretty cool. I've got this file on Hobo with Wood, but you almost need to be doing it out of the solid hardwoods. This is my mixtape, and this is actually several layers and inlays. And I'm dating myself by saying it's a mixtape. Ask kids today what a mixtape is. They're like, oh, what? But that's really cool. It's, the cassette and the reels. In fact, I'm going to show you this. Zoom in good and tight. The reels I did that in an offset engrave. So you can see the circular engraving. So you can actually see the tape, in person, it really shows up. And it's, there's a differentiator. It's recessed further than the label. And that's wicked. That was fun to do. And then this piece down here, you can see it's raised and it's proud. That's another separate piece that I engraved a pocket in and then put a thin layer on there. So it created that extra definition of the cassette tape. But I thought that was really cool. And if you ever, I probably made that exact tape in 1987. Was that all phooey? Randy Travis, and I forget, you've got to Alabama. Randy Travis and the Alabama. Those were 2 of the #1 songs in 87. So Chris is going out to the shed. He's going to have to power everything on, get everything ready. And thank you, sir. I did, and I've got a piece of this. No. This is zebra wood. I forget what that other I've got is, but I got a piece over there that's 10 feet long. It's about 13 or 14 inches wide and only 3 millimeters thick. One solid sheet. And Babinga. And the Babinga, let's see here. Let me pull up Babinga. And images. And this one, it's got a little bit of curl to it. And share. There we go. So it's Babinga. and it's beautiful, beautiful wood when you get a good finish on it. And I got a piece that's huge. Like I said, it's 10 feet and right at 13 inches, but only 3 mil, the entire thing. And I am trying to, yes, it's expensive. That one sheet, 10 feet, 3 mil, that's $235 for that one piece of lumber. It's hard to even call that lumber because it's only 3 mil, but that's what it is. That was, I've had it here for almost 2 years because I can't figure out what I want to do with it. And you don't want to waste that on something or make a wrong cut. So it'll be something I've designed, tested, built out of cheap stuff, and then I know it works. Then I'll make it out of that. But I haven't decided yet. The 3 mil is what limits me on what I can do with it. And Chris says he's running out to the shed. His shed must be across the outback. You know, he's down in Perth or outside of Perth in Australia. So he's running out, and maybe he got attacked by a roo or a crocodile. Oh. Ding, 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 ding. In fact, let me pull up those artwork while we're waiting on him. Light burn, file, new, discard. And that was cutting boards. And one of them I know he said was the Star Wars theme, that one. That. Whenever he opened it, he double-clicked it and brought it in, like I just did. All of the text was inverted. And what's crazy is it's grouped. That's all grouped together, but somehow when he imported it, ungroup, it brought it in something like that. And it's a grouped piece. I don't understand for the life of me how or why that happened. So, and Chris is he's a pretty fart smeller. He can figure stuff out in Lightburn faster than I can. So I'm curious, and I think he was stumped there for a little bit. When I finished my daughter birthday present, can I? Oh, there's Chris. Let's see. Add stage. Hey, buddy, give me a second here. It says, when I finish my daughter's birthday present, can you help me with an easel like your music easel? To fit? Yeah, I'll be happy to help you with you. All right. Hey, Ed. And yes, Chris, he's from the land down under. Are you in Perth or outside of Perth?
Out of suburbia.
Okay. All right. So I was just showing the folks. This was one of the ones you were having an issue with, right?
Yep.
And what's weird is when I click on this and bring it straight in, it works for me. But not only does it work for me, but that's all grouped. And if I'm not mistaken, what you showed me was something like that, wasn't it?
Yep.
So how did a grouped image come into yours with the font messed up?
It's really bizarre. The only thing I've been able to find that's common to those three is that I didn't have those particular fonts installed. But they're pars. They're not fonts. They're not text.
Right. When you don't have the font, it creates it automatically as a path. And
That's right.
And the fact that it was grouped, how did it screw that up like that? You didn't ever figure it out.
Well, no, but it's just taken that one group of the text, mirrored it left to right and top to bottom.
Yeah. It's almost as if the only time I've experienced that before was whenever it was something that was designed with a different origin, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, like for a dye or a CO2 or something. And so when you tried to open it up in Lightburn, it was reversed and flipped.
Yeah.
But
Actually, one thing I just thought that I hadn't checked was the image. No, because it would have been upside down as well.
yeah, the image, the fork was right. What you showed me, you sent me, was, if I
Yeah,
recall, just like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
It's really bizarre.
and there was one other person who finally contacted me and said they had that same issue. So two people have had that problem now. So it's not just you, but there have been bunches of people who have downloaded it and it worked fine.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw everyone saying that it was working for them.
Yeah,
but
it and it wasn't that just that one there, but it was only fonts that you didn't have that did it to you, right?
That's the only commonality I've been able to find.
Okay.
There may be something else, but I just haven't found what it is.
Well, you see, it is now. Good God, son! It's 3 a.m.
Almost time to wake up.
and as Ed said here, he's in Perth. We just said he's out there near Perth. It's 3 a.m. for him right now, and his sorry butt's up in here in this live. Do you ever sleep?
Yeah, twice a day.
Okay,
for about between 2 and 4 hours.
Wow, no, it's because there's not many live streams that you're not chiming in somewhere, and not just mine. You're in everybody's live. In fact, I bet you right now, if we go look, if Clack is live right now, you probably in his stream too.
Yeah, but he's not live at the moment.
And you know because you've already looked.
Yeah, I get notified.
Well, I was hoping you had an answer. I was hoping you had a resolution.
Yeah.
No. Well, I would really be curious because the biggest one is because it was all grouped. That image was in the Lightburn in the library as a grouped piece. So why did Lightburn even bring it in ungrouped and inverted?
Yeah. If it was like left to right, you wouldn't have been able to tell whether the fork was mirrored or not.
Yeah.
But because the text was left to right and top to bottom, you can see that the fork wasn't affected.
Yeah. So
it's really bizarre.
Lightburn,
I'll pass it off to Lightburn, but nobody's got back to me yet.
Oh, you did already? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what they would have to say about, because I love to learn. I love to know why it does what it does when it does what it does. And also if it's something that I did that caused it, I want to prevent it from ever happening again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought you had an answer for me. Shame on you. I thought you figured it out. Well, what did you think about the memorial design?
I liked it.
Is there anything you had done differently? And we didn't both freeze. He did. And I love to mess with you sometimes, but no, I'm not froze, but he's froze. He's lost his internet, lost his connection. We'll see if we get him back here. Or he fell asleep mid-sentence. Mid-sentence with his eyes open and his mouth ajar. Now, what do you want? I just tried to take you out, and you wouldn't. She'd come over here, and she's hollering and screaming at me, needing to go outside, I thought. And so I took her outside, and she just stood there and looked at me. So I said, okay, you don't want nothing to eat. Maybe you want some, or you don't need to go outside and do her business. So I went and got her bowl. And she's going to eat everything. Now I think she needs to go outside and do her business. Yep, that's how I need to go outside and do her business. All right. I'm coming. You quit fussing at me. I'm the boss. You're not the boss. I'm the boss. Or not. So I'm gonna walk out there and take her do her thing. If he pops back in here, I'll be right back. Y'all can comment to him that I'll be right back. He might see it, but none of y'all can. Gotta go. I'm coming. Go. Good girl. Is it all gone? Yep, it's all gone. All right. All right. Well, he didn't make it back. The female's always a boss. Yes. Yes. And that did seem to resolve it. I guess eating all that, she did empty her bowl. She ate everything out of it, and then she got back, lost the internet connection to the shed. All right, no worries. I had to go let the dog out. She started hollering and fussing at me. I had to let her out, so we both gone for a second. But yeah, once you get that resolved, let us all know. At least let me know. I'd like to know what the hiccup was if we ever did. Sometimes it's just a hiccup, and there's and people get mad at me when I say this kind of thing, but I am not being derogatory, because by golly, I love Lightburn. I love it, love it, love it. I love the fact of how inexpensive it is. I love the abilities it's got. People go and get all these other softwares to do all kind of processing and then bring stuff back. I do everything in Lightburn. I don't use other processors. But with that said, Lightburn has gremlins. And every once in a while, they'll just pop up and just mess you up just because they were bored. And that might be all this turned out. It was just a gremlin. They may never find a reason, but the fact that two people had that happen, there's got to be some kind of common denominator that made it happen for two people. But I'd love to see it, or I'd love to figure it out. Steve, it's 3 p.m. and you yawned. I yawned. Did I yawn? I don't remember. But hey, I'm kind of like Chris Gallagher there. It's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning for him. He says he sleeps a couple hours. Well, because I'm helping you guys all around the world, I might be in here. In fact, last night, Russ was trying to connect with me yesterday, and all day yesterday I was working on putting up a new mailbox, and you putting it in the ground, cement and all that. And I actually used my Comgrow. What was that? Was that the Falcon? I don't know if that was the Falcon or not, but I did and took my open gantry laser out to the porch and engraved the house number on the post for the mailbox. Instead of painting it on there or putting letters on there, I engraved it in the post so it's permanent. Got it in the ground, cemented. I got the mailbox up today, but I worked on that until it was dark. And then I reached out to Russ last night at 9:30 or 10 p.m. for me to say, hey, you ready to work? And, so I work, and then he didn't need it, but I ended up working on designs and ideas for tomorrow. And it was 3 a.m. before I went to bed. So have I heard anything from Milmage? That'd be a Chris. Yeah, that's Chris. Nope, only a few hints that there will be an announcement at LBX. Yeah, that's the BS they said last time, Chris. That was the whole reason for the going was I was going I only went to the first LBX because I was anxious to see and learn about Milmage and start working with Milmage. And the at the time I was, had the collaboration there with Rich and Patrick. So Rich and Patrick, we all met each other there. It was the first time we were ever in the same place. And interestingly enough, the night when we got there, I went to his room, said hello, and met him. And when I walked in and greeted him for the first time I ever laid eyes on this man, I walked in and extended my hand, and man, I just can't thank you enough for all your help and everything you've taught me. And first words out of his mouth was, well, pay me. I'm like, huh? He said, well, pay me. And he didn't have a laugh or a grin or a smile or anything on his face, but I guess that was just his Yankee sense of humor, I guess. I think we went to dinner, and then, after dinner, we all went back to our individual rooms. I took my RV. I drove my truck and pulled my RV up there instead of paying for hotel rooms and all that. I camped out in the parking lot. And I since I had my house with me, I had a really good collection of some fine whiskeys, not wines, but some fine spirits, and told everybody, so y'all welcome, come out here. And we not once, nobody ever came out, no one socialized, none of that. And I'm like, okay. I said, I can't afford to drink at the bar. I can't afford to be in the hotel and drinking that stuff. But nobody came out, so whatever. And interestingly enough, Patrick confided in me. Patrick told me, he said, and we had only had LBX going for just a couple of months. Not LBX. What's that other LMR? We only had it going for a couple of months. And Rich confided in Patrick then. He said, yeah, Steve won't be with us for long. And I didn't know that there was any issues going on, but he told Patrick, he said, I don't know how long Steve will be with us. Steve ain't going to be here long. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. And after I left LMR, Patrick and we still talk. And Patrick told me, he said, yeah, he said, he told me back at LBX that you weren't going to be part of the stream for long. And I had no clue that there was any deadline for my part of that venture. It was so really weird. But no, LBX was supposed to be that when they, dropped it, and it never happened. And Chris says, yeah, but we stopped asking for extra features to be added. You stopped asking for extra features to LBX. Well, I mean, to Milmage. Well, that's fine and dandy. You're always going to have that request. But I mean, they've had Milmage. I mean, and I have a copy of it. You have a copy of it. They've had a working version of it for well over a year, and they've not released anything. I mean, if people accept it as it is for what it is, it's a burgeoning brand new concept that's going to be growing. Put it out there and let us start working with it. And as soon as I get my Cubico, I will be working with it. If I can get it communicate, I'll be using it. All right. Well, I've been here for almost 4 hours, 3 hours, 45 minutes. I'm going to get out of here, go get some lunch. I've already fed the dog. She's had hers, but I hadn't had mine. And I'm going to work on, and a kick in the teeth. The day I did this, I had come into the shop. I come into the studio, and I knew that I had lost power because the screens I'm looking at right now weren't on. They're not my primary screen. And whenever the power resets, these get wiped off because this is I've got two computers hooked up to two different screens, and so I have to go through a whole process. Well, one of the things I should have done that I forgot to do was reconnect the microphone to my video recording software, because when I lose power, it loses its connection to the video recording software. I didn't think about it. I did this entire design, just like for those that are still here that were here when I started the design process with Russ. I designed this entire piece from scratch. Took an hour and a half to do all of this, figured up and get it all nice and neat laid out. And then once I got done, I did some B-roll recording the Rolly cutting all this out, because I wanted to have a finished piece to put in the thumbnail for the video showing, okay, this is what we're going to do and this is how we did it. Well, while that was cutting out, I went over to the video editing software to start editing it. I had over an hour and a half of video of the light burn screen showing everything I did, and no audio, none whatsoever. So I was a little bit peeved at myself. And so that's why I only had just the music montage and the time lapse of this, because everything else was waste, total waste. Have a good one, Kevin. The hobo singe is outstanding, Steve. I'm guessing a hobo is that single, maybe? Is that a typo, or is that something I don't know? Singe. But I'm gonna design. I doubt I'll do a hobo. In fact, what I've been thinking about, this was prompted by a request from Alex Terry in the Rolly Automation Facebook group. She had a 2-layer image that she wanted to know how to design, and it prompted me to do this. All right, Chris, have a good one. And I kept playing with it. And I said, you know what? I don't like the 2-layer. I want to do 3 layer. No, I don't want to do 3. I'm going to do 4. And then I got 5 layers here. And so it continued to morph and morph and morph and grow. But that, being 5 layers thick, you could do it as a wall hanger if you wanted to, but it's also thick enough that it supports itself and can just stand up on a shelf or what have you. But I don't do just a Boolean of an image. There was no single image that had those trees and the mountains in it. Those were all individual images that were, placed exactly where I wanted them to be within those letters. So I got, the perfect placement of the mountain peaks and the H. Got the trees where I wanted them. They're not symmetrical, they're not centered up, but I wanted them to be just where they're at. So all of my pieces were placed individually, as opposed to just taking the hobo letters and cookie cuttering out of an image. But then how do you get that, and how do you get the 3D? And then you've seen a lot of that today in the design process. I did with Russ. But that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And I thought about, instead of doing the hobo, trying to think of a word like peace or love or something like that that's kind of generic, that could have images put in there, random images, to create a piece that a design that folks might actually want to download. But type O. Yeah, I have no idea what I might have to Google that now. Somebody else used a big word a minute ago that I'm like, okay, y'all, I didn't go to college. I'm a dumb hobo. I'm an uneducated. I'm not dumb, but I am uneducated, and there's a difference. Let's see here. SIGNE. Type of the hobo. Oh, okay. I'm uneducated. It's French for sign. Yep. Thank you, Ed. French for sign. Yeah, you gotta remember, you gotta use them little words with me. But thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with the way that turned out. It has no value whatsoever except that I can go, look, this is what I do. Woo, 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 woo. Because I can't sell that. And, and that's why I was thinking, okay, maybe something generic with peace, love, and happiness. But this was simple. It was 4 letters. And I'll probably do the same thing again. I'll probably just recreate something like this, being that it's only 4 letters, to teach you the technique. And then you can take that and use it for names or peace, love, and happiness, whatever you want to do. But that'll be tomorrow. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There we go. Yeah, I'm not doing that, but that would be kind of cool. That would be really cool. Pedantic nitpicking. Did I say that right? Pedantic nitpicking. Yeah. I'm that way a lot of times. I was being pedantic when I was working on those stars. Those stars had a lot of curves in them, and I wanted crisp lines. So I was being pedantic on that as well. It's Bush 2 ways of spelling sign like potato. Okay. All right. I was leaving 4 times now, so I'm leaving now. But tomorrow, 3 p.m. is when we'll start working on that. If you can make it, great. If not, it will be available to watch in a replay. And you can, as long as you guys have to link this, you can go back and watch that entire design process of that memorial piece. So until tomorrow, and actually almost 24 hours, I'll be back here. I'm out. We'll see you guys. George, what was that? Oh, that was Quail. Oh, yeah. That was Quail. Yeah, Quail was also an uneducated. Yeah, that was Quail. That wasn't Bush with the potato. How you spell potato. All right, guys. Yeah, Steve. Yeah, I quit looking. I lost my mind a long time ago, and I quit looking for it. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.